I didn't start recording the audio. God damn it, all the hell. Oh, I suck again.
Sorry, I forgot to remind you.
It's all right.
Reverb?
We've only been doing this for how many years now?
4?
Yeah, something like that. Hello.
I didn't bring my laptop today, so I can't check out the comments.
You'll just have to look over Dave's shoulder.
I can't be up in the side chat.
Yeah. All right, this is the sound check portion, people. Let us know how we sound. We have a third person.
Hi.
So
Don't forget, we close that window before we
that
start.
is a good point. But please let us know how we sound before we actually get started with the real show.
Oh, man, I was doing a Spotsworth thing in the car, and now it's gone. Damn it.
What is it?
Spotsworth from Team America.
Which character was that?
He was the guy in charge, the older guy.
Oh, okay.
In a wheelie chair.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
going
yeah.
back and
Yep.
forth.
Bad intelligence.
That's, now suck my cock.
All right.
And then I honestly, it was randomly in the car. I have no idea why it came in. Like it just whoop, popped in there.
It's the mind of Dave.
It's
an amalgam. All right, so we got one click. We got one sound is good. Bronco Fett, got to ask you every week. How's your family doing? Hope everyone's getting better.
Wrong personality. Huh? Oh, Kay Olsen.
Who's Kay Olsen?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Oh, there.
Yeah, there. Hey,
yeah.
Lunar Girl.
Oh.
Lunar Girl, you have the same icon as this person, Kay Olsen.
That's
so
weird.
Very
it is
strange.
weird. Well, it is the child, right? There's a little Grogu happening.
No.
And this is why we brought him on, folks.
Mm-hmm.
All
I
right.
will not do it. I actually have a story about that later. So.
Yeah, no.
Good.
Kind of ties into the VMA thing.
Oh, sweet. Oh, my God. Did you break your nose by throwing your guitar into the air? Okay.
Kay Olsen is a bitch. Lunar Girl's more fun.
Wow.
Damn.
Harsh.
Don't let Kay Olsen hear that.
Yeah. Shit.
All righty. So allegedly we sound good.
Allegedly.
Mm-hmm. Let me get myself another drink.
Can you see that from there? Can you see
I
it?
can see, yeah. Right. So, Lunar Girl has like a lot of insider information on a lot of my stories. So,
Yeah, so don't give it away in the chat. Or if he's missing something or saying something wrong, make sure he's corrected in the chat. We'll do my best.
Indeed.
This is going to be a Dave probably working the chat a lot more because Dave does not have a guitar and a good singing voice. So that was bad intelligence.
All right.
good singing voice would be subjective here.
Yeah. It's all subjective. You all right?
Wow.
Made
I think
him
his
choke.
booze
Wow.
went down the wrong pipe.
It did. Didn't realize bourbon was so burny when it goes down your fucking air hole.
It's not supposed to go into your lungs, Dave. That's the.
All right.
You all right?
Yeah, gonna be great.
Oh, one other thing that I need to do before we start.
Reverb.
Hear Dave scream like a girl, apparently. You know what that sounded like? The first season of South Park, when they had John Stamos' brother sing Loving You, and he hit the high F. Loving you is easy because you're beautiful. That's Richard Stamos. He can't hit the high F. He always screws it up.
What the hell?
All right, I
I
know.
am not subscribed to Gen X Point of View on Sweet Studios.
What the fuck?
It's funny. You're actually not invited as a guest anymore either. That's such a coincidence.
I subscribe now.
All right, fine. How do you do a scrolling banner on the fucking? Oh, maybe under banners.
Probably.
Yeah.
Is going live tomorrow night at 5 p.m. Eastern for Use and Abuse Pod.
All right.
I'll try and remember that and not butcher it like I did last week.
No promises, though. We're just gonna be singing that for the rest of the
We're gonna sing "Smells Like Teen Spirit" that way.
No.
Here we are now.
There will be no Teen Spirit.
I feel stupid.
8255.
Here we are now.
We're gonna drive everybody away before we ever go live. All right, let me see if you can see that. How do we do it? Scrolling. Scroll.
Smells like Nirvana.
Indeed it does. All right,
All right.
boom.
That's a different scent altogether.
So we'll I'm sure. I'm not even gonna
I think
go
I've
there.
smelled Nirvana, to be honest.
All right, so randomly we'll do the hotline at the bottom, I guess, whenever we talk about suicide.
Smells like black tar, heroin, and cigarettes.
Indeed.
Tastes like cigarettes.
All right. I guess we're good, right?
Didn't High F make everyone shit their pants? I don't even remember.
That's the brown note.
I'm ready.
All right, are you good? Cleanse your palate of the loving you.
All right.
Wow. Okay.
It's
Oh my god. All right. You want to give me a countdown?
a music episode.
Indeed, it is. What have we done?
Countdown. Ready?
See.
3PO.
From a Gen X point of view is brought to you today by
Sweet Studios.
Sweet Studios,
Who is in the house today and in the
Yes.
chat.
joining
Welcome.
us.
Welcome, Sweet
Our
Studios.
good friend, Big Dick Nick. What's up, man?
What's going on, guys?
Little BDN.
Pleasure to be back, as always.
Yes, and this is a very special musical episode of the show. Dave, what are we talking about this week?
We're going to talk a little Nirvana today
Yeah.
on the anniversary, the 27th anniversary
Yep.
of Kurt Cobain's untimely and unfortunate demise.
Yeah.
So-
And which is funny, I just realized this as we were going live. He was 27
Mhm.
when he lost his battle with depression and substance abuse and everything else.
Fuck, we're old.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
So
Ugh. That means I graduated high school 27 years ago. That's
oh, that happened your senior year.
I did.
Oh, okay.
It
Well, we'll get into that. All that fun, uplifting stuff as we move along. But in the meantime, we have a thing that we like to start off every podcast with now, and that's our this or that.
That's right.
So we're going to go ahead and jump right into it. If you don't follow us on Instagram, you really should, because every week our social media correspondent puts up a poll.
She's a director. I mean, she's a social media director. Don't demote her.
Sure, whatever. I'm just picking
Like,
words.
that's a pay raise. You know, you don't
she
demote her.
gets paid?
Obviously. Why would you do this for free?
That is a good question. Anyway,
Got a perk.
Right?
every week she puts up a poll, gives you
Box
two
of shit that
options.
she's not getting. That's
Oh,
it's in a
this is-
pile right here that was still formed in the box on the table. Like, here's this box. Jason, we should put this stuff in it. Oh, yeah, okay, I'm going to do that. I came in the studio today, the box exactly in the same fucking position.
This is what happens when we bring on a guest. It's very difficult for me to maintain any aspect of control, but I'm going to attempt to carry on. Anyway, on Instagram at GenXPOV, every week we'll do a poll, give you 2 options, you pick one, and then we go over the results here on the show. So obviously it's a music episode dealing with a lot of grunge, alternative kind of music. So that is what this week's poll was based around. And the first one is Soundgarden versus Stone Temple Pilots. Which for me, I guess I picked in the minority because Soundgarden lost. Stone Temple Pilots won 65% to 35%.
STP all the way.
Yeah, STP for me too. And I think the biggest reason is because I saw them live.
Oh, okay.
Seeing STP live, the show that they put on, it was, I think we were talking about it actually the other day. Yeah. Like it was in, was it the Spectrum? I don't even know, but it, saw it in Philly indoors. They did their normal shit, all their greatest hits, right? And then they brought this stage up from the ceiling. They dropped it down, and
was that a Stonehenge?
No, it was their acoustic. They did their unplugged, basically their unplugged set, but they did it on a separate stage so that when that stage came down, they jumped on that stage, played their unplugged shit, then went back and finished with it was just a great show.
Awesome.
Sounded awesome. Yeah.
For me, it's like it's the total band. Like if you were to take Chris Cornell versus Scott Weiland, it would be Chris Cornell all day long. But like the band as a whole, like STP, like that time in my life, STP was the thing. That album Core is one of my top albums of all time.
Yeah.
So
and to be fair with Scott Weiland, I actually did really enjoy Velvet Revolver. If you guys remember them.
Oh yeah.
But Nick made a face, so we won't press the issue. So this next one, I'm probably going to get some shit for this, but I actually didn't even respond to this next one because I'm like, I don't know who either of these people are. It was Mudhoney versus Screaming Trees.
Mudhoney, come on.
Which Mudhoney did win by a narrow margin, 56% to 44%.
I think I picked Screaming Trees because I knew one song.
Right. And I'm sure like I probably knew a song or two from each, but just looking at their names, I'm like, I don't remember who that is.
If you were a huge Nirvana fan like myself and Lunar Girl, you know who all these bands are.
Okay.
Because a lot of these bands were influences of Kurt. So
okay, fair enough.
Okay.
Well, do you have any? You said
Mudhoney.
Mudhoney?
Yeah.
Okay. And again, they narrowly won that one. This one I thought was blasphemy. Pearl Jam versus Alice in Chains. Pearl Jam narrowly won 58%. I love Pearl Jam. I was actually bigger into Pearl Jam than I was into Nirvana back in high school.
Yeah.
Alice in Chains.
Yeah,
all day long.
It's that's a tough, like comparing the two bands. I think you're comparing almost two
very different styles
of music.
Yeah.
So if you're talking about just bodies of music that I enjoy, like if you're like tabbing, okay, this is how many songs I like. This band is how many, like Pearl Jam will win, but it's close.
I'm in the minority here where I think that Pearl Jam, I think they're a good band. I think they're a great band. I think they're very overrated. I don't think they're as good as people think they are. Like in my opinion, like the first album 10 and the second album Versus, honestly, are the only two albums I really liked.
And to be fair, those are the only albums I'm familiar with.
Yeah.
for
they've
them.
done like 10 other albums.
Right.
So
I saw Pearl Jam live. And that's why.
And I don't know, Eddie Vedder, I'm not a huge fan of his vocals.
All right. So this next one, the results that came up were pretty interesting. It was Garbage versus Hole. Garbage won by far, 92% versus 8%. So, and I'm wondering, like, is this because Courtney Love just draws a lot of heat? Like a lot of people just fucking hate Courtney Love for whatever reason.
It's just not worth listening to.
You gotta look at Garbage. Okay, Shirley Manson, first of all, over Courtney Love, and
as a vocalist.
She's awesome.
And Garbage has Butch Vig, man. Like, come on, Butch Vig.
All right, fair enough. But yeah, no, I also picked Garbage because like their song, I think I'm Paranoid, is like one of my favorite songs ever. Like I love that song.
That should be on every Eddie Vedder's a douche.
Who said that?
Lunar Girl. Also a fuck Courtney Love in there.
Right. Well, hey, to be fair, there was a very brief period in the mid 90s where Courtney Love was actually quite bonable. If you remember about the time where they did the cover of Gold Dust Woman in 96, I think it was. The video for that, if you go back and watch that, Courtney Love actually looked pretty good in that. Also, when she did Man on the Moon with Jim Carrey,
Mm.
brief period. The rest of the time of her life, she looks like a fucking crack whore. But I digress. The next one was this was another close one. It was the Pixies versus Sonic Youth. I picked the Pixies myself because there's one song of theirs that I remember from Rock Band that I really enjoyed.
This was a toss up for me because I enjoy both, but I think this week's topic kind of skewed me a little bit. Sonic Youth was, another band that Kurt really liked, and growing up when I started listening to Nirvana and I started like following Kurt's likes and dislikes, I started listening to Sonic Youth and they were really good.
Mhm.
So I think just the topic on hand today skewed me towards Sonic Youth. I mean, he liked the Pixies too. But.
All right. Shout out, by the way, to my friend Rachel, who's apparently watching right now. So, and by the way, if I didn't say the results, Sonic Youth won 54% to 46%.
Yeah, I was Sonic Youth as well.
Okay, nice. This one was a dead heat, which I don't understand why. It was Bush versus Radiohead, a 50% split. Which
Bush.
really?
Yes.
Yeah.
And okay, don't get me wrong. I'm in the middle of doing a Radiohead song
Uh-huh.
on for the Sweet Studios channel.
Yeah.
But honestly, that's probably the only song by them that I could name.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
But
All right, fair enough. But I mean, how many songs can you name of Bush?
dude,
They had like 2 songs off of that
Nah, man.
album,
the Bush had some,
and only
some
one of them was
tunes.
good.
Bush had some good tunes.
All right.
Machine Head was great. Like that. I mean, that's the one
Machine
everybody
Head,
knows.
Glycerin. Yeah.
Glycerin, Everything's Zen.
Yep.
Honestly, that whole first album was really good.
Yeah.
And then they fell into the same thing where as albums went on, they got a little bit worse and worse, but there was still good songs off of some of the other ones.
All right, fair enough. Here's a funny one: Blind Melon versus Violent Femmes.
Violent Femmes.
Right, because but it wasn't actually as much of a blowout as I would think. Blind Melon actually got 33%. It's like, what songs did they have
It's
besides the fucking B song?
the B girl.
Yeah.
What was it? What's the name of the song? No Rain.
Yeah.
All I can say.
Yeah, that's the only song anybody knows.
Yeah.
Because the dude died.
Yeah, though.
Go ahead.
I was going to say Shannon Hoon, the lead singer, he did some backup vocals for Guns N' Roses on their Use Your Illusion albums. But other than that, what the fuck did they do?
I got to see Violent Femmes in a festival show in Philly.
Femmes are great.
Nice.
I am an idiot when it comes to like a lot of music stuff. Anybody that listens to the podcast for a minute knows that. Like, I listen to music, but I don't know things about music.
Okay.
So when I saw their show and the lead singer like kind of came off the stage, this was at the Man, right? So it's like half outdoor, and I'm in the grass area, and he came up. They were playing like all the way up through the seated area. I didn't realize that dude was fucking like a midget. Like the dude was fucking tiny. Like I'm like, holy shit! Like, is that a thing? And they're like, yeah, that's a thing. I'm like, oh, okay. Apparently, I'm whatever.
You weren't in the know.
I was not in the know.
All right, fair enough. Next one we have Smashing Pumpkins versus Weezer. I'm just gonna come out and say it. I fucking hate Smashing Pumpkins. I can't stand Billy Corgan's voice. I don't like any fucking song they ever did. I don't know why people like them. Yeah, I don't know, but I mean, Weezer won 64% to 36%.
Right.
Especially the album that was presented on. I don't even know how they name their albums, if it's just like the color of the
blue album,
the blue, teal, whatever the fuck color it was. But that album was great, like front to back.
Well, yeah, that was the one that had Say It Ain't So, the Sweater Song, Buddy Holly.
It shouldn't have been close, honestly. What was the other band?
Smashing Pumpkins.
Oh, there was a period, like real quick, that there was a Smashing Pumpkins song. I was like, oh, you know what? I want to listen to that song. I had a bitch of a time finding it. Like, this is before like more accessible ways to get music, let's say. So if I had to go into something like the internet that would have an alternate means of getting music,
right?
Not that I would do such a thing or condone it in any shape or form.
Mm-hmm.
Don't shut us off. Yeah, I was like, I had a bitch of a time getting to the song, and by the time I got to the song, I'm like, I don't know why I wanted to listen to this.
Like, even though Kevin Smith used one of their songs in Clerks 2, I'll forgive him.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's on 1974.
But again, okay, and the riff in that one was good. As soon as Billy Corgan opens his fucking mouth, I want to turn it off, though. I can't. Why?
Wasn't there on Guitar Hero? Didn't they have a Smashing Pumpkins?
They've had a couple. Yeah.
I will admit there are a couple Smashing Pumpkin songs that I like. Like Cherub Rock is a great song.
It is a good
But
song.
they're few and far between.
Right.
For as popular as they allegedly were, that you think they'd have more songs that were like, I don't know, listenable.
Mm-hmm.
And they're another one of those bands that fell into as they went along, like they got more and more artistic, I guess you could say.
Sure.
And just
Fair enough. All right. Next one was
Start smelling their own shit.
The Offspring versus Candlebox. Yeah, Offspring won pretty handily, 79% to 21%. Like, what did Candlebox have besides the one fucking song, that one single that was big?
they had a few.
Far Behind, right? Was that their song? But you left me far behind.
Oh, that was them? I
think so.
They had a few.
All right.
I can't think of them off the top of my head though. That tells you like, how
Yeah,
memorable
exactly.
they were.
But I can think of at least two Offspring albums that were pretty decent.
Yeah.
So that's why I picked them. Last one, I think this is the last. Yep. Last one, the Red Hot Chili Peppers versus Rage Against the Machine.
Rage.
And I could see why a lot of people would
Yeah.
pick Rage. I picked Chili Peppers just because they're just kind of more fun, I guess, even though I don't like Anthony Kiedis that much either. He's not Billy Corgan level of annoying, but he's close. But Chili Peppers won 63% to 37%.
I actually hate the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Do you? Okay.
I will turn the radio off if a song comes on. Like,
Wow.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know what. Something about that band. They irk me.
Well, I think their early stuff, the stuff from the early 90s was fine. It was
Blood
good
Sugar
for me.
Sex Magic.
Yeah.
I love Flea. He's like phenomenal bass player. Like phenomenal.
Yeah.
But can't stand the band.
But like anything Californication or after, like none of that stuff really appealed to me.
Yeah, honestly, it was the only one album. And my favorite song off of that was like Breaking the Girl. It wasn't even one of the more popular ones.
Yeah. I remember that song.
Yeah,
though.
Anthony Kiedis too is like, and like he had that little cameo in Point Break.
Well, him and
that's
Flea.
right.
Yeah, even in that movie, I wanted to punch him in the face when he got on the screen. I was like,
Yeah. It wasn't.
I prefer
Flea did a much better job.
I prefer Flea's cameo in the Back to the Future movies.
There you go.
So there we go. All right. So that was this week's This or That. Thank you, everybody, for bearing with us. Thank you to Lunar Girl for creating the poll. And in the chat, Supergirl 3000 says, Chili Peppers are the worst. I would rather vote for a giant turd.
thank you.
Wow. That's pretty rough. Moving on. This is normally when we get into our weeks. Dave and I talk about all the bullshit we've been up to the last week.
Right.
But because we have a very special guest in the studio, we're going to switch things up a little bit. And we're going to find out what Nick's been up to. And really, I know there's a lot going on with Sweet Studios. So catch us up on that stuff because I want to hear some of this. And I have some questions for you also.
Yeah.
So
the Sweet Studios, like if you don't know Sweet Studios, it's my third YouTube channel that I do. I started it when about a year. Honestly, it was almost a year or just a little over a year ago.
Mhm.
When COVID was first starting to happen, I had gotten out of electric guitar for a long time. I kept this acoustic. I've had this for years, but all my other gear I got rid of back in like the early 2000s when I quit my last band.
Mhm.
And then I just started getting the urge to play some electric guitar again, and just originally I just want to do some cover songs of songs that I liked.
Mhm.
And then when the whole quarantine thing happened and everybody went in lockdown, I got this idea to reach out to other YouTubers, other musicians around the world, and kind of do these full band cover songs with people all over the world. Like, I record my parts, they record their parts and send them to me. And then, I put it all together, make a music video and put them up on YouTube.
Mhm.
And that's what Sweet Studios is. And we did the first batch of songs. There's like 4 or 5 songs we did. And then I got COVID and, just shit, real world shit, that things got put on the back burner. But in the last month or two, I've really been getting back at it. And we have several songs that are in the works right now, a couple that are really, really close to being completed.
Mhm.
So yeah, I've been hard at work getting some of these songs together.
So before we get into some of the details of the songs that you've been covering and what you're working on, I got to ask you, because I've always been curious about this. What's the legality of covering songs and then putting them out on your own YouTube channel, like songs that you obviously don't have any rights to or anything like that. Like,
So
what's the legality there?
The catch is YouTube content ID checks everything you upload.
Mm-hmm.
So as soon as you put something up that's copyrighted in any way, you're going to get a notification saying this is a copyright match to this song. Now, used to back in the day, if you got, they would call it a copyright strike. And if you got 3 copyright strikes, they shut your channel down.
Yeah.
Well, people that did covers and bands that were being covered kind of realized that, okay, there's nothing, they're not doing anything wrong here. They're not taking money away from us. So, and they also, in their own way, they saw it as a way to make money for themselves. So the catch now is you cannot monetize for yourself any video that has copyrighted material in it.
Sure.
The band or whoever owns the copyright can run ads on your video, and they make the money off of those ads.
Right.
So
But you still get the views, though. You're still getting the views.
You're getting the views,
the subscription,
and everything. The only catch is you can't make any money off of your channel. So if you're looking to do covers as a way to make money on YouTube, forget it. Never going to happen. You're going to have to figure out a different way to make money, either through Patreon or something like that.
OnlyFans.
Yeah. But
some booty shots, you know.
So what a lot of people do is they'll do covers to kind of build their subscription base up, and then they'll start doing other types of videos along with that, and they'll use those videos that don't have copyrighted material to get their ad revenue.
Okay.
But I mean, you got to build up a good subscriber base before you get to that point. Like me, I'm just doing this for fun. I don't give a shit about money for this channel, so I'm just doing it to have fun. So now it's just copyright claims, and every video I do, like within 5 seconds of me uploading it, I get emails like, "Oh, copyright claim on this video."
Naturally.
And then some of them, depending on the copyright rules, they won't be viewable in certain countries. Usually, it's overseas countries like.
Which who gives a shit about that?
China, Iran, whatever.
Oh no, the Chinese don't get to watch me play guitar.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, they're probably doing it anyway since it's through YouTube. But whatever.
right.
But yeah, so that's basically what I've been doing recently. I did have one other thing though. I got something in the mail. Anybody that's been following me on Instagram, like they know I've been waiting for this package. It was supposed to get to me Saturday, but I got a message saying that due to a mechanical failure, my delivery was delayed. So I've been like tracking, constantly refreshing.
Was that mechanical failure like a boat that was stuck in a canal somewhere?
You never know. But
and in fairness, like, so he was expecting this on Saturday. When he initially bought this particular item, it was, it's going to be shipped like the next. It was like already shipped the next day, and he's like, I know this is bullshit, but it immediately got his hopes up.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm actually going to be doing an unboxing of this, which I filmed before I came. But I figured, I'd give the viewers here a little sneak preview of the beauty that is this fucking amazing guitar.
All right, let's see it.
And it's not going to come through on the camera more than likely, but the finish on this is freaking amazing.
Ooh, yeah, that's good. When you shine the light on it,
metallic red finish, front, back, all the way up the neck. It's just beautiful.
And what brand of guitar is this?
This is a Schecter C1 Silver Mountain edition in Blood Moon.
Nice.
So,
and I'm very fond of red and black colors together. That's like
it's my favorite.
Yeah, my favorite color combo. So it looks amazing.
But yeah, phenomenal. You'll see it on the channel real soon.
Sweet. So in addition to that, what songs do you guys already have, or do you already have in the bag on Sweet Studios? So if I went to Sweet Studios right now, what songs are already on there and completed?
Okay, so the first song we came out of the gates with was it was Motorhead, but it was kind of a combination of I love old Motorhead, and I also love WWE. So we did a cover of Motorhead the Game, Triple H's entrance song for however many years now. So we came out the gate with that one. I actually did the vocals on that one, and goddamn, Lemmy is a son of a bitch to emulate. Like, I don't know how I did it.
Oh yeah,
but yeah, it was crazy. Let me see, what else did we do? We did I just by myself I did like an acoustic cover of Foo Fighters Times Like These. We did a Nirvana tune in there. We did can't remember what the song was.
The Nirvana song?
Yeah.
Jamie, look that up.
Yeah. I don't remember what the song was. Lunar Girl probably tell you.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably. Lunar Girl's got that.
Yeah.
Drain
All
You.
right.
Drain You. There you go. Thank you. Thank you.
All right. So
And then we did a Pantera tune. We did Unbroken. So like honestly,
Okay.
right out of the gates, we did a lot of kind of like tribute kind of songs. Like
Sure.
Lemmy had passed, obviously Kurt had passed, and then Dime and Vinny, they had passed. So we wanted to do some songs that kind of had some significance to people that weren't with us anymore that were influences on me. So
nice. All right. So is there anything that you're working on now that you actually want to tell the people about? Something to look out for?
We're inspired by last month's month of M band that you guys talked about. I decided to do a little mandatory Metallica.
Nice.
Metallica. We're doing old school Metallica. So off of Ride the Lightning, we're doing Creeping Death.
Yes.
And that one is in the finishing stages. The bass player I'm working with, he's out in fucking Jordan.
Really?
Yeah, in the Middle East. Yeah, and
crazy.
The singer is from Germany. The drummer was from Germany as well. Funnily enough, I'd done my guitars already. So the bass player, he emailed me and said, "Hey, I got the bass tracks finished up," and he sent it to me. So I just got to plug that in. And then the last bit is my buddy Jim, who used to work with me when I was over at the MXS. He actually played the Star Spangled Banner at my retirement ceremony on guitar.
Oh, incredible.
So he's going to come over and do the leads on that, and then that one will be finished up and ready to go. We got, as I was talking about earlier, Radiohead. We got Radiohead in the works. That one's got a couple more things. A buddy of mine from up north, he's still got to come down and do some. He's going to do some acoustic guitar on it, and then some vocals on it, and then we'll have that one wrapped up. I have kind of an off the wall one, Mazzy Star.
Really?
Into Dust. It's
Not sure if I'm familiar with that one.
It's a very simple. It's just like an acoustic guitar, a vocal.
Did you send that to me in Messenger, or was that on your channel that you had posted?
I posted a little snippet of it on the Instagram.
Okay.
But yeah, it's just an acoustic guitar, a vocal, and then there's some strings in it, like a violin, viola. More, it's a little deeper than a violin, but not quite as deep as a cello. So viola.
Okay.
So I got my stuff done on that. The vocalist for that one, she's from Italy, so she's gonna be singing on that one. She's actually working on her stuff right now. And then one of my buddy's friends, he knows somebody that plays strings, so she's gonna hopefully come down and do some strings on that one. And then there's a couple other ones that are kind of ideas at the moment, but haven't really started any hard work on them. One that I talked about possibly doing with you.
All right. That's right.
So yeah, we got a couple things in the works.
Sweet. All right. Well, if you want to hear any of the stylings of Big Swede, go to Swede Studios on YouTube, SWEDE
Yes.
Studios. Just look it up.
And if I get 11 more subscribers, I can get my custom URL on YouTube, and it won't be channel.
How hard?
X9ZR.
How hard is it?
Yes.
Fucking.
So
oh my god!
If you are listening or watching right now, go to his YouTube channel and give him a subscription.
Yeah.
Give him that
While you're
custom
at it,
URL, please.
subscribe to us too, fuckers.
Yeah.
Damn it.
Well, we're pimping our guest right now, but
And also us. We bring him on to make us look good. That's the whole point.
that's fair. All right. So,
Request of random wrestler intros.
oh yeah, we could get into a whole sidebar about that. So, Dave, you got anything before we get into our main topic?
No, let's do it, man.
I know we normally do, 90 minutes of our weeks before we start plowing through, but
I think the only thing I'll say is that Helmet Fire and I passed our Part 107 tests today to be commercial unmanned aerial systems pilots. So that more
it
flying,
sounds impressive.
more flying shit from the drones is going to be coming out. I'm going to be working on more drone flying. I want to do some commercial work, maybe make some money, pay for my drone, pay for a new drone.
Yeah, there you go.
That would be ideal.
Mhm.
And yeah, so
And
All right.
Helmet Fire, I forgot about this, is actually going to be working with me on Sweet Studios doing the video for the Mazzy Star tune.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
Like the video editing kind of
Yeah,
stuff.
He's
Okay.
gonna shoot some stuff
Yeah.
for me. We'll do some video editing and stuff like that.
Awesome.
So it's gonna be good.
Excellent.
tuned.
All right. Well, then, if that's all you got, let's move right into our main topic then.
Yes.
So, obviously, as we said at the top of the show, we're talking about Nirvana because today is the unfortunate anniversary of the day that Kurt Cobain committed suicide. This was April 5th, 1994. 94. Yeah. So 27 years ago. And by the way, he was 27 when this happened. So it's been a whole Kurt Cobain lifetime since this incident. So we're going to talk about him. We're going to talk about Nirvana, kind of our memories of them, and we'll just, we'll do what we do.
And Big Swede's got a guitar, so I think we're going to hear some music.
We're probably going to hear some music. In fact, do you want to play us into something? Just give us a little, just the tip. Just give us the tip of something, just to see how it feels.
Ooh, see, I'm rusty. Oh, sorry.
Sell the kids for food. All right. We're not going to do a whole song yet.
Yeah.
Let's talk about our history first. So whenever we do a topic like this, we kind of talk about where we were, what we were doing, kind of our perspective growing up as, again, Gen Xers, especially with this topic. Real big impact on our generation, Generation X. So for me, talking about my history with Nirvana, I had no visibility on them during the Bleach era. You know, they formed in 87. Bleach was released, I think, in 89. And then,
88, 89.
yes, one of those 2 years. And then obviously Nevermind came out in 91, the end of 91. That was my first exposure because, like I've said previously on the show, most of my exposure to new music came from MTV. That was just where I got all of my new music. So whatever the program people at MTV decided we were going to watch, that's how I got exposed to this stuff. And obviously, when Smells Like Teen Spirit came out, the video for that, it was so unique, so different from anything we had heard up to that point, because we were kind of making that transition from the hair metal bands and the LA rock scene from the 80s, getting into like the hard rock of the early 90s. But then you had Nirvana and what started this whole alternative / grunge, whatever you want to call it. They were sort of the beginning of that. And it was, again, so different, so unique. And it really just grasped everybody as a whole, because this was something that a lot of us who weren't, in the know, didn't have access to, some of this underground shit. We weren't really exposed to at the time. So Smells Like Teen Spirit, the music video came out for that. And obviously I was mesmerized. I loved the sound. I thought it was very different, very unique. And it wasn't long before I got the album Nevermind, which is probably in early 92. Probably, realistically, I got it from one of those Columbia House BMG deals. Yeah, so yeah, I got the album and loved the whole fucking album. In fact, going back and doing research for this show, I listened to the album again on my Apple Music, and I still remember every fucking song on that album. Like, man,
great album.
And it's so funny too, because it's been so long since I've listened to it. Because early 90s, this was my shit. But as we grow up, and then after Kurt Cobain died, I got a little almost resentful, because all of a sudden after he was dead, everybody's like, oh, he was such a genius. And like, they really built him up after the fact. And I'm like, where the fuck were all of you a year ago when, they were still making their albums and everything. So, and it was also a product of MTV just overplaying fucking everything. Yeah. If you had MTV back in the day, if they picked something and it caught on, they played it all the fucking time, to the point where, you'd get sick of Smells Like Teen Spirit and even their other singles that came out after that in their videos. So, and then by the time In Utero came out, I enjoyed a couple of songs from that album, but I don't really remember much of it. And then it wasn't long after that where Kurt Cobain committed suicide. And I don't know. I still had an affinity for especially Nevermind, but it was just one of those things that it wasn't until after the fact that I didn't later on that I appreciated it more. But the MTV Unplugged, which I think we're going to talk about a little bit, also was like one of my favorite albums ever of that era. So really exposed to them through MTV, but really, really enjoyed, what they presented, especially for the Nevermind album. So Dave, what about you?
Dude, so I put in the notes that this was a boat that I missed for the most part.
Well, okay, so let's set the stage a little bit, because when Nevermind came out, I was a sophomore in high school. What were you?
What year was that?
That was fall of 92.
91.
Or fall of 91.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. Yeah.
Fall 91 going
into 92. Oh, actually, so I was a freshman at that point.
Yeah, I was a sophomore.
Okay. What about you, Nick?
I was a freshman.
Okay, so you graduated in 95? Okay, sweet.
Yeah, so we're all right around the same area. I think I talked about it on the last music pod that we did. At the time, I was into a lot of different shit. It's kind of the Metallica underground stuff with like Slayer and some other shit like that. And then like when I was down the shore, listening to oldies and shit like that. So listening to like kind of the more trendy pop music, like not that you can call this particular style of music, but
no, definitely not.
Yeah, you were either listening to 93.3, the classic rock station, or it was on a station that I didn't really listen to. So I didn't really hear it. But the video on MTV, like again, I didn't watch a whole lot of MTV. But that video kind of stood out because A, it was played a lot, and B, it was like, it was fucking catchy. I mean, let's face it, it was really, really good, and it was such a departure really from what I was listening to at the time, but not enough to get me like, not to move my needle completely the other way. For me, like my Nirvana exposure really comes down to Unplugged, because I love the sound of the acoustic guitar. I've talked about it on the show. It's just, for whatever reason, I just enjoy that. It puts me in like that, into my Zen place. And when they did their Unplugged, you talk about doing research for the show and going back and listening to stuff. Like I went back and listened to Unplugged because I knew that's what I liked. I'm not going to listen to a bunch of other stuff that's not what I liked. I liked Unplugged. And that's what I gravitated towards. But during the times, like even when he had passed, it really, for me, it didn't really move my needle at all. But, and again, I was in a minority. I was in a very weird, like kind of space for music, because I was into such. All right, I'm going to listen to Slayer, and then 10 minutes later, I could be listening to the Beach Boys.
Well, yeah, and that's like I was saying too. This came at a unique time when we were making that transition from the the Motley Crues and the Poisons to your Guns N' Roses and Metallica, and like Megadeth was coming back, and it was this weird shift to like this fucking hard rock heavy metal. But then in the middle, you've got fucking Nirvana and the rest of these bands from Seattle starting to come up, and yeah, it was a really unique mix of music at the time.
So what's funny about that is I don't remember if I was on the notes, you talk about Alice in Chains and some of these other bands that came afterwards. As I got a little bit older, instead of listening to 93.3, I'd listen to, it was a station called Y100. Y100 was the alternative station. And I had a Dave Matthews thing it was a phase. But I was super, super into Dave Matthews, and they played it on, at the time it was alternative. And that's what they played on Y100. That's where Preston and Steve started in Philly. They started on Y100. And so, but they played a lot of Nirvana at the particular moment. So it kind of came back a little bit more, but it took a while for me to, and even then it was like, oh yeah, I like this song. So you didn't have the album Nevermind. You didn't really. If I had it because I picked it up in Columbia House, because it's like, oh, I need a 10th album. Let me go ahead and get this.
Okay.
Because it's got a fucking baby in a swimming pool. Like, what the fuck?
Which, by the way, that kid's like fucking 30 now.
I was gonna bring that up.
Yeah.
He recently had a milestone birthday, and we all went, oh my God, we're so old.
Yeah. So, all right, Nick, pivoting to you. So, what are your early memories? And
so I'm I'm in part of like the very, very small minority. I actually heard of Nirvana before Nevermind came out.
Okay.
I remember in I want to say it was like 80, it was like 89, 90 time frame. One of the singles that they released off of Bleach was Love Buzz, which was a cover of some like 60s acid rock band or some shit.
Right.
But I remember hearing that song on the radio. It like, I don't even remember. I mean, it had to have been like KRZ or the Binghamton station, the Binghamton rock station. But like they would do these occasional like deep cut kind of things. And I remember hearing that song and I was like, man, that's really cool.
Yeah.
And I still didn't really get into the band. Like I didn't go searching for the album. There you go. 99.1. Thank you, Lunar Girl. That was the Binghamton station. 99.1. The Whale, I think it was. But they, they played that song. I really liked it. And I was like, okay, cool. That's a cool band. And then when Nevermind dropped, like it took me a minute, but I'm like, I remember this band.
Yeah.
And I went back, like absolutely fell in love with Nevermind. Went back immediately and bought Bleach and listened to that, and like from that point on, I was like all in on Nirvana, Kurt Cobain. Like that, Kurt Cobain was my inspiration for picking up a guitar.
Oh yeah.
Because before that, I was listening to Metallica and Megadeth and Slayer and shit like that, and like all these like phenomenal guitar players, and then I heard Nirvana and I'm like, I could do that. Like listening to Slayer and Megadeth and shit. Like,
oh god,
I'm like no way in hell I can play that shit.
Uh-huh.
Like that's like Guitar God shit.
Mm.
But listening to Nirvana and seeing what this dude was doing with just playing basic power chords and just writing these phenomenal songs with basic chords, I was like, fuck, I could do that.
Yeah.
So that's what inspired me to go out, saved up my allowance, went out and bought my first guitar. And from that point on, it was like, like me and Luna Girl's brother, Justin, we started playing. My buddy Dale, he was playing drums, and we formed our own little garage band. And like, I proceeded to learn every goddamn Nirvana song there was.
Nice.
Like, I was like 100% all in on Nirvana. And it to this day, like, I can listen to any of these albums and still love them. Honestly, like I like a lot of the stuff that most people don't know about. Like, Nevermind was great. Front to back, I love it. To this day, still won't play Smells Like Teen Spirit. Won't do it because...
Is it just because of the overplaying aspect and everything else?
No, it was more, and it was, kind of online with what Kurt had talked about with how people that he didn't want to be fans of his band were liking the band because of that song.
Right.
And like you'd have all these people that were talking about how, oh, I love Nirvana, but they can't name a single song past the songs that were on the radio. Like, Smells Like Teen Spirit,
Come As You
In
Are,
Bloom, Come As You Are, Lithium. Couldn't name a single song after those.
Yeah.
And like I was like, you're a poser, man. Like name me a fucking B-side,
Yeah, and we'll get into that a little bit more too when we talk about like the 1992 VMAs and everything, because I want to touch.
I got a story on that one too.
Okay, cool.
I love the word poser.
Yeah.
What a 90s word that
Oh, I know,
but
right?
yeah, like me, Luna Girl, we were like full on grunge, like flannel shirts, ripped up jeans, like
Nice.
100%. I had the Kurt Cobain haircut. Like I was all in on that shit.
Yeah, and if you're not part of the Sidebar Cantina Facebook group, that's where she put those pictures, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think Instagram she
Oh,
posted
or
some stuff.
Instagram too. But yeah, she posted some pictures of Nick basically looking like Kurt Cobain with the same fucking hair and everything.
And it's funny too because the pictures themselves are 90s pictures.
Yeah.
So it's like a little bit grainy.
Yeah.
Like it could have been taken at a live show looking at Kurt Cobain. You wouldn't know.
Yeah, but I mean, like that music just it spoke to us like on a personal level because we were the fucking outcasts. We were the the weird kids.
Yeah.
And
And I don't know. I feel like you could say that about most of Gen X, and I think that's why we all gravitated towards it, because it was very, anti-establishment. It was different. That was the thing that really spoke to me. It was just how different it was from everything else that was being presented at the time.
Yeah. And Kurt wasn't like a great guitar player, but like
he was one of those devil left-handed.
He was a
people,
lefty, yeah.
So
and like you'd see him like half the time playing
Whoa.
right-handed guitars that were just flipped upside down, like so all the controls are up on top instead of at the bottom. Like,
whoa. What do you mean the devil left-handed?
I was always told that lefties are the devil's children, and in school they would make them write with their right hand. And
I wish I could say you're wrong, because it is a right-handed world. I will tell you that right now, as a lefty, and I probably am some sort of spawn of the devil. But
you're very oppressed, honestly. So
it is. Look, I don't want to get
that to fuck with him.
I don't want to. Oh, you fucker.
Yeah, like so he wasn't a great guitar player by any means, but he was a brilliant songwriter and a great lyricist. Honestly, one of my favorite lines that he ever wrote was off of the In Utero album. It opened the goddamn album off of what was it, Scentless Apprentice, because at that time he was dealing with that whole thing about like the fame, and all that shit, and like I said, like he talked about how there were fans of the band that he like despised in high school, like these jocks and everybody that. And he wanted to get away from that. So like when they did In Utero, like they intentionally made it very raw and like unpolished. And he opens the goddamn album with "Teenage angst has paid off well, but now I'm bored and old." And I'm like, that's just fucking phenomenal, man. Like,
yeah, it's brilliant. Yeah.
Well, and he's one of those. I mean, obviously he was a tortured soul, right? Trying to deal with all these things.
It was Serve the Servants, by the way, not Scentless Apprentice.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, thank you for correcting yourself. We were gonna let that go because you're the guest, but no, it's that tortured soul that transmitted their feelings so well into a song.
Yeah,
well,
it's what created that angst for the first two albums.
Yeah,
but then it took on a whole new level when they reached that success, and he couldn't really come to terms with it. He didn't like it, like you said. He didn't like the fans and. Or at least the new fans, the trendy fans.
Yeah, like a lot of people say like he didn't want to be famous. Like, but if you watch like I don't know if you've ever seen the what's the Montage of Heck documentary.
I don't know.
It's great. Like a lot of insight into his growing up and like his family life and stuff, moving on. And he wanted to be famous and get on a major label and everything. It was just the type of people that were liking the music that he didn't like. And a lot of the stuff that comes along with being famous that he didn't necessarily like people prying into his private life and shit like that. So I mean, like to say he didn't want to be famous was that's not entirely true. But some of the things that came along with it, he didn't.
Yeah, right. It was more just issues dealing with the fame.
Yeah, can you ever be prepared for something like that if you're not coming from a background?
And how quickly it happened.
Yeah. Like all of a sudden you're fucking getting a little silver fucking astronaut on stage for some fucking shit that you're doing.
Well, yeah, because it's like in the beginning you're playing fucking bars in Seattle. You get hired by some indie record label to make one album. It has some mild success. And then boom, all of a sudden you release your second album and you're now worldwide famous. Like over the course of just a couple of months.
Yeah, millions upon millions of people are suddenly listening to your words.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I can totally see that where it would, if you're already on an unstable platform, that the weight of that could push you over the edge.
So we're going to bounce around a little bit as we go along and talk about a few different things, but I wanted to do one other thing similar to our history with Nirvana, and that's sort of the where were we, or what were we doing when we found out about Kurt's suicide and everything, because I have an interesting story myself. So he again killed himself on April 5th. His body wasn't discovered until the 8th. That morning on the 8th, I was going to Six Flags Magic Mountain with my friend Doug. This was a thing that we would regularly do a couple of times a year. And this particular time, we knew that Weird Al Yankovic was playing at Six Flags Magic Mountain in California. He was doing a free concert. So anybody who was there, all you had to do was line up to go into the amphitheater there in the theme park and see Weird Al live, which at the time, one of his big hits was the Smells Like Nirvana parody.
Right.
So I pick up my friend Doug that morning and he gets in the car and we start driving and he's like, dude, did you hear about Kurt Cobain? I'm like, no, what happened? He's like, he's dead. I'm like, oh shit. That's crazy. So we get to Magic Mountain, we ride some rides, we get in line for the fucking Weird Al concert, and he's doing his normal show. I had seen him once before and a couple times afterwards. Gets to the point where it comes to the Smells Like Nirvana part. And, you know, they black out the theater and he says, we respectfully dedicate this next song to the memory of Kurt Cobain. Every concert Weird Al has ever done after that, he's always opened that particular song with that blur. We, respectfully dedicate this next song to the memory of Kurt Cobain. And that day that I saw him was the first day he ever said that, because that was the day that Kurt Cobain had died.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was kind of my story of how I learned about this.
Yeah. Weird Al's that character, right? Yeah. He's that guy. They're like, as goofy as he seems, like all the artists like what he's doing with their songs. And he's one of those wholesome characters that would totally understand what the moment was.
Well, and he's also said, like, on numerous occasions, like the songs that he parodies are from like people he respects.
Right.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't just like make fun of somebody because that person's stupid, I'm gonna make a stupid song about them. No, they're bands and artists that he respects, and that's why he does it. It's like a tribute to them.
Right. And he always gets their permission too before he does a parody. Like he could legally do it without any legal recourse, but he always makes sure to get the permission ahead of time.
Coolio got all mad at him for
because there was a whole mix up apparently with like whether or not he said yes, you could do the parody ahead of time. But no, in fact, there's an old story when Nirvana was on Saturday Night Live. And Weird Al was friends with the blonde girl who was on SNL in the 80s and early 90s. I can't remember her fucking name. She was in UHF, the Weird Al movie. Anyway, he called her while they were on stage at SNL. And he's like, hey, can you ask Nirvana if it's okay if I parody their song? And I think Dave Grohl was commented as saying after the fact, he knew that they had made it big at that point when Weird Al wanted to parody one of their songs. So anyway, that's my whole memory of, what I was doing when I heard about this. Dave, do you have any kind of story?
No, not really, because I couldn't exactly place where I was. Like looking at the note for the show, I'm like, all right, where was I on these particular days? So the April 5th was a Tuesday, right? So whatever the end of that week would have been, I'm pretty sure that I was on my senior trip, like in Orlando. So we did, like, we were on the senior trip, like no news or anything like that. Somebody's watching the fucking news.
Right.
Like,
because again, this was pre-internet, pre-cell phone, all that.
We had no idea anything like that would have happened until much, much later. And again, for somebody like me, probably the first time I even really noticed something was up was, first time you turn on MTV and they're like, for a long time after it happened, like MTV was talking about it.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So but as far as where I was, I couldn't tell you exactly where I was. I can tell you that at that point in my life, there was a lot of interesting stuff. Like I deliberately wore like Embry Riddle stuff because there was I gotten accepted to Embry Riddle in this time frame, like end of March or early April. And that was my goal. I was going to be an aeronautical engineer. And that couldn't happen because I'm a Gen Xer. And I had absolute garbage fucking guidance counselors that couldn't help me, and that this Nirvana like angst suddenly changed my senior year into like when I was a relatively good student but didn't do homework to fuck you, I'm not doing anything.
Right. Senioritis, as they call it.
Yeah, it was probably a little bit more than that, and I won't get into terrible detail about some of that, but this aspect of the suicide itself, kind of has been a theme in many, many different parts of my life. Yeah. So, but other than that, nothing particularly stood out of that day. Certainly not the first fucking time Weird Al does his memorial.
Yeah. All right. So Nick, as the big Nirvana fan, do you remember anything about?
So, I mean, I was at home. I know that much. I don't remember if it was the day of or the next day. I didn't have the luxury of MTV to have that kind of news plastered all over me. So I remember I was sitting down eating dinner, and we had just the local news on the TV, and that's where I first heard about it, was on the news. And I gotta say, like, that was the first like celebrity death that ever affected me in any kind of personal way. Like, you know, people die all the time, you know, famous people die all the time, but like nothing had ever affected me personally like that did, because it was such, you know, Nirvana was like such a huge part, especially that time in your life, you know, when, you know, we had, you know, growing up, like, I didn't have the exact family life that I would have liked to have, and like a lot of teenage.
Did any of us?
Yeah, a lot of the teenage shit about like, oh, nobody cares about me, you know, you're brooding and all that shit.
Oh yeah.
So like that music and and Kurt's songwriting and vocals and lyrics, like all that stuff, like spoke to me on a personal level. So like to hear that news that he had died, it was a shot to the heart for me. And, I'm sure, as Lunar Girl said, like she, cried, all of us, like we were huge into Nirvana, and like, it was a deeply personal feeling. Like, even though I've never met this person in my life. And there's, a few artists in my life since then that have passed that I had that same feeling about, but it's few and far between. Like those artists that really speak to your heart. It's not every band that you like. It's those few very special ones that really affect you personally like that. So
sure, and it's like you said, he's the one who inspired you to pick up a guitar. So yeah, I could definitely see that being pretty effective.
Yeah, we doing our Van Halen episode, that's kind of the feeling that I had, and unfortunately I have absolutely no musical ability whatsoever. So, but that's probably the closest I would come to that particular feeling. I'm with you, man.
All right. So we're going to take a quick pause real quick. I know it was a great somber moment to take a break, but nature calls.
Yes.
No matter what. So we will take a very quick break and be right back after this word from our sponsors.
Play us out.
Yep. I'll entertain while you're gone.
Okay. All right. Oh, Jesus. Oh, this is bad.
Get ice on your way back.
Get what?
Ice.
Okay.
The song's off our first record. Most people don't own it. And I don't remember where it goes from there. God, I haven't played these songs in so long. It's hard to remember. I've lost it
somewhere,
dude. At some point in my life, I knew every Nirvana song ever written, pretty much.
Well, listen, but our hard drive is only but so big. You start pushing packets out.
I know that's the next word.
Nope, I can't help you, dude.
Nope,
no clue.
It's not happening. Keep sliding too high.
no.
There are people talking behind me.
Here, the ice is here.
Damn, that's a huge block of ice.
Wow. This is the ice cube of justice right here.
Is it even gonna fit?
Troll level expert there.
I guess you
Perfect.
could
Perfect.
pour.
Hand me my booze.
Oh my god.
The stateside. Gracias.
Here's a backup piece, I guess. In case you need one. Nice.
How did is this a special mold?
Apparently, you're at 100 subscribers now too. By the way.
Sweet.
So Kristen wanted me to let you know.
Awesome.
Don't even.
How you,
What do you think? What do you think's
how you
gonna
pull
happen?
this off?
How do you think this is
I
gonna?
think it'll work.
You
I
think it'll work?
Yeah.
You think it's
Just don't pour too fast. It'll
Yeah.
work.
skin friction?
Oh my god.
Look at that. Look at that.
This is something.
The Lego hands.
How are you gonna drink it though?
I don't know. We'll figure it out. Yeah, I'll do it live. That is spectacular.
I mean, I guess you could pick the ice cube up temporarily and then take a sip.
I think I'm just gonna lick the ice cube like it's an ice cream cone. Live on the air. And just Nick will be playing music, and I'm just gonna be like tongue in the ice. Oh,
Jesus.
Ice cube.
Do you need to use the trees or anything outside?
It's gonna piss me off now. I'm gonna have to look up the tabs
For which song?
about a girl.
Oh.
Making myself look bad here.
That was off of Bleach, right?
It was. That's what they opened up Unplugged with.
Yeah.
He was like, "This song's off our first record. Most people don't own it."
Yeah. Okay, yeah, we'll get into it when we continue. I don't want to blow our wad yet.
Come on, you can do it. I believe in you. Yeah, the verse I could play it all day long, like in my sleep. 2 chords. Where does it go from there?
You actually inspired me. I actually started picking up the guitar again last week or two. I had kind of put it down for a while, but
There we go. See, sometimes you just need a little.
It's just a little memory jolt.
Yep.
Oh my god, I'm stuck.
Rachel said our thing looks fake and real at the same time.
Or what thing?
Well, she sent me a text. She's like, "Are you guys in the same room?" I'm like, "Yes." She's like, "It looks fake and real at the same time." I'm like, "Yeah."
We'll take that as a compliment.
Yeah.
See, look. Yeah, it's not a green screen because I don't think we would clutter up a green screen.
No.
We have like with the pops and for those of you who are playing the home game, there may be a couple of new pops. Points to you if you can identify them.
And also, if you look, there is
Working nicely.
there is a hint at future episodes in the background as well. You can spot it.
Start the show.
All right. We ready to move on?
Yes.
So,
All right.
Thank you to
So-
everybody that subscribed to the Sweet Studio channel.
Yes. And yeah, give us a countdown and we'll
Ready, set, go.
And we're back. So, getting back into Nirvana. I have a list of a few random things I wanted to talk about regarding them. This isn't an end-all be-all. If you guys want to throw some stuff in there as well, feel free, but just, for keeping some sort of a format, I have some notes, some things I wanted to dive into. First of all was obviously the musical style, that of the grunge, the somber, the anti-establishment.
Anti-Guitar Hero.
Yeah. And, it really pissed off a lot of the 80s bands. I can specifically remember seeing an interview, I think it was with Vince Neil from Motley Crue, about how he fucking hated grunge. He hated this new style of music. He hated Nirvana because they blew it for all these party bands, these LA rock bands, the fucking Poisons and them, the White Snakes, all the ones that just wanted to sing about fucking girls and parties and everything else. They're like, why you got to be such a fucking downer, But at the same time, that's kind of what took over. And it was sort of the last nail in the coffin for that old style of rock. And I just know that a lot of those 80s rock bands are really resentful of Nirvana.
Yeah. And not just the death of those bands or that style of music, but the birth of that whole grunge era. You look at bands, I know we talked about this at work, you look at bands that came out, after Nevermind, the Alice in Chains, the Stone Temple Pilots, think about if Nirvana didn't happen, do those bands make it? Do they come out? Maybe they come out, but I just don't think they're as big. I think they're an afterthought in the music world if Nirvana doesn't happen.
Yeah.
No, I would agree. You needed a seismic shift in the music to let that take hold, because it was a divining rod for the generation. And what happened?
Sorry, you guys want a piece of pizza? The kids aren't gonna eat it. It's cheesesteak.
Good for now.
It's really good.
I might. I'm just gonna take it.
Yeah, take it.
We apologize for this interruption, but apparently Kristen is offering free food to
It is cheesesteak pizza.
Yeah.
It's really good.
I might have to take
I
one
might
of
have
those.
to.
There's 3 pieces here.
All right.
You talk amongst yourselves.
What the So anyway,
Oh
basically,
my God.
we were having this clashing of styles, and we still, for the next year or two, still had this sort of hard rock, because Metallica was still a big thing, Guns N' Roses was still a big thing. We're going to talk about that a little bit, and then you had it clashing with this new style, this what eventually got dubbed as alternative rock, right?
Mm-hmm.
Your Nirvanas and Pearl Jam. Pearl Jam was a big one for me, which we
Chains, STP.
Soundgarden,
Yeah.
A lot of that Seattle sound, which I don't know if Stone Temple Pilots or any of those came from Seattle too, but
STP I think was California.
okay. But still very different, and again alternative, right? Because it was different from the norm. So we had that clashing of styles for years, and I think grunge.
Yeah. I mean, I look at a band like Alice in Chains, and as a band, they're a much better. They were a much better band than Nirvana was, musically speaking.
Sure, they were more refined.
Jerry Cantrell, amazing guitar player, amazing songwriter, and his vocals combined with Lane Staley's vocals, they had a great sound to them. But again, I don't think they ever make it as big as they did if Nirvana doesn't come before them and kick that door down.
Yeah. And I think too, Nirvana had, as much of a downer as Kurt Cobain kind of presented himself as, he still had quite a bit of charisma and quite a bit of appeal to his character and who he was and how he presented in the band. You go to the MTV Unplugged. If you watch the whole thing, if you don't just listen to the album, if you watch the actual video, he has some great back and forth with the audience, and he has that really cool connection.
I love how he's telling that story about how he asked David Geffen if you'd buy that lead belly guitar for $100,000. That's great stuff. Yeah,
so he had this personality that was very appealing, despite again the somber tone of his whole persona. But he had a level of charisma, and it came through in the videos and everything else too. So but again, I just wanted to bring up the whole 80s rock thing, because I can remember those guys being so pissed off and so resentful at Nirvana and those guys that came after them, because that was it. That was the death knell for those groups.
Jason, you're just gonna have to keep talking.
I know, right?
We're both eating cheesesteak pizza.
Yeah, I'm watching these two eat pizza
So
right
good.
in front of me. Once it hits your lips. So I wanted to just talk about a couple of the songs from Nevermind too, because you mentioned, and I thought it was a good point, that they kind of resented almost these kind of pickup fans who just knew the singles and nothing else. Whereas, again, I listened to Nevermind fucking front to back, however many times. Listening to it again was great. Songs like Polly, it was sort of kind of delving into a little bit of like S&M and some other unique themes. Fucking Territorial Pissing. I love that song so much. And it's just him screaming, "Get out of my way!" And
I got a story that ties into my story for later.
Okay. And Something in the Way. Oh, what a song. What a great fucking song. Which recently got regurgitated. I posted a link in the Cantina a couple days ago in that trailer for the new Batman movie. Like, I don't know if you guys have watched that, but the Batman movie with Robert Pattinson that's coming out next year, they did a teaser trailer for it last year. It's a year old at this point. And over it, they played Something in the Way from Nirvana, and it worked so well with that fucking trailer. The tone of that song, great song. And I can't say
it matches the overall tone of the. I'm gonna get close.
Yeah,
overall tone of the of what Nirvana was, right? Batman, the darkness. no parents. No, it just it works.
Yeah. So
eating now.
No worries. So, but yeah, if you ever get a chance, all of the Nirvana albums, the 4 Nirvana albums that exist.
Little bit of Nirvana trivia.
Sure.
For Nevermind. The song is if you're talking cassettes, it's a B-side. The song Lounge Act. The only studio album release song where Kurt drops an F-bomb.
Oh, no shit.
Is in Lounge Act.
Huh. Never thought about that. Very interesting. So, shifting to the 1992 VMAs. I remember this. The MTV Video Music Awards, for those of you not in the know. This was a pretty big event every year back then. Yeah, back then it was, before MTV got all fucking political and everything was about politics and everything else. And it was just a big fucking party and a good time and a way to celebrate these new videos and these new artists that they were trying to push. And the 92 VMAs specifically always stood out to me because of how fucking crazy the whole show was. Because this was this new alternative rock, grunge, whatever you want to call it, had really come to the forefront. And this whole anti-establishment fucking just, we're not doing things the way you used to do it, was at the forefront. And you watch 2 performances in particular to really get that feel. You watch the Nirvana's performance of Lithium, and then Red Hot Chili Peppers performed Give It Away at the same show. And I always remember Nirvana's performance of Lithium because it had such a great energy. And then by the end, as he's going and it's building, you see guys like hopping up from the fucking crowd onto the stage and then doing stage dives. They weren't like rushing the fucking performers. They weren't, causing a disturbance. They were just getting on the stage and then running. And fucking stage diving.
Yeah, and you could even see Kurt at one point, like a dude gets up on stage behind him, and then he like lifts up the neck of his guitar as he runs by and dives off the stage. Like, so it's like, do your thing, man.
Yep. Yeah, because this was then the time when like mosh pits were becoming a thing. If you remember fucking mosh pits.
Oh yeah.
Which, by the way, pivoting back to what I was saying about Weird Al, one of the Weird Al concerts that I went to after that time that Kurt Cobain had died, and he did the Smells Like Nirvana, they did a fucking mosh pit down in the fucking down in the front rows of the Weird Al concert.
Do you think mosh pits would have been like a thing in alternative music? If that, I mean, mosh pits were really relegated to the death metal.
Yeah, it was the metal.
That was like you get in a mosh pit like at a Pantera or a Slayer show or fucking Sepultura, shit like that. and you're in there really just trying to beat people up, it's an excuse to punch somebody in the face, obviously.
I don't know. From what I remember, it was big with the alternative bands too. I remember with Pearl Jam and Nirvana, people down there, and it wasn't like punching each other. It was like kind of like bumping into each other.
It was like mosh pits at different genres, like took on a different life. Like
Right.
the metal scene, it was like kicking and stomping and punching people.
Mhm.
And at like the grunge shows, it was more of like a just bumping into each other.
Yeah.
Like you run and jump and you smash into each other in the air and like run around a circle. It was a less violent mosh pit than a metal show was.
Yeah. And one of the biggest things that stuck out to me, this performance of Lithium at these VMAs, was when the bassist fucking threw his guitar in the air and it came down and he didn't catch it right
face.
and it smashed his fucking face. It broke his nose.
It's not the only time he's done that either.
Yeah. And like he's stumbling, like it knocked. I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't like fucking black out for a few seconds after that happened. And he's like stumbling off fucking stage and they're helping him off. And then they start going through their shtick where they're like destroying their fucking instruments, because that was a big thing too.
Knocking over Marshall stacks and shit.
Yeah.
Fucking,
they like throwing their shit at the drum set, and then Dave Grohl gets on the fucking mic and starts taunting Axl Rose.
Right. Axl. Hi, Axl.
Yeah.
Hi, Axl.
Which, because apparently there was a lot of animosity between them.
There's a lot of beef.
Yeah. And it was mostly because Axl Rose was a fucking asshole.
Well,
at the end of the day.
Fuck Axl Rose.
I can see.
Don't defend Axl Rose.
I can see both sides of this. I will take it more on Kurt's side of things, because really that's what it was. It wasn't Nirvana versus Guns N' Roses. It was Kurt versus Axl.
Sure.
Because Axl actually liked Nirvana, and like this whole thing started with Axl wanting Nirvana to play at his it was like his 30th birthday party or some shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
And Nirvana was like, no, we're not going to do it. Or Kurt was like, no, we're not going to do that. And then after that, it was the Guns and Metallica tour.
Yep. Which we talked about extensively a couple weeks ago.
They had asked Nirvana to open that show.
Right.
And once again, Kurt was like, no, fuck you.
Yeah. Which I think they went with Faith No More for a majority of that tour, but then when I saw them, it was Motorhead had hopped in. So
but yeah, so like Kurt just didn't agree with like what they were selling, I guess you could say.
Yeah,
So
I think his quote was something to the effect of they're a band with nothing to say.
Yeah. He didn't want to be associated with what they were writing music about.
Mhm.
And of course, Axl took that in his own childish way and was like, okay, fine, fuck you then. And I'm going to start talking shit about you. And Axl took it to a personal level.
Yeah.
And started talking about, drug use and his
and he went after
wife,
Courtney Love. Yeah.
And how their kid's going to be born, deformed and they should be put in jail and shit like that. So Axl took it to a whole nother level.
Mhm.
But really it started with Kurt basically saying, fuck you, I don't like you.
Right. Which, I mean, that's his prerogative at that point.
Right.
But, Axl could have just taken the high road and just not
okay,
address
fine.
them at all.
Fine, you don't want to play with us. It's the biggest tour in the world, but fine.
Yeah. But no, he had to take some shots.
Yep.
And that's how it kind of exploded into this whole thing. And then, you get that VMA moment where apparently a lot of shit happened backstage between them.
Yeah.
I guess there was a confrontation between Axl and fucking Kurt Cobain and Courtney Love backstage, and fucking Duff McKagan and the Nirvana bass player.
Chris Novoselic, yep.
Yeah, so it was like this rivalry was heating up at this point. And then of course Dave Grohl just has to go and poke the bear
Yeah.
at the end of that fucking performance. Hi, Axl.
I really feel like Dave Grohl in this entire scenario is kind of the quiet guy in the back that's just enjoying the fight.
Yeah.
Right.
It's just like, hey, I'm gonna go ahead and can I instigate this a little bit?
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. I'm watching back here. I'll be back here. You guys are fighting? No, I'll be back here watching.
Mm-hmm. But I think that whole VMAs, like it just shows the fucking mood of our generation at the time. This whole just fucking fuck you, fuck the establishment, fuck all this shit. We're sick of all this bullshit.
Well, and it's funny because you're getting into this cycle, right? Because one of the big things that come out of that VMA is the remember Goebbels quote that the bassist makes when they're accepting the award and shit like that.
Yeah,
they're really talking about the propaganda in the media and like people being kind of
not believing everything you read.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like ironic that in 1994, like when we're juniors and seniors in high school, like this or what 92. So still we're high school kids, right? And we're watching this and this propaganda machine that the boomers have basically generated, right? So watching the news and the media and everything else, and oh, by the way, in a couple of years, you're going to have the ability to put a disc into a computer and it goes and fucking goes, and now you have this thing called the internet, which is going to make all these connections for other people that are like-minded. And that was the beginning. Like this era of our lives is the springboard for what turns into basically the real internet and social media and how we interact.
David K in the chat dislocated his shoulder in a mosh pit at a Necrogoblicon show.
That with a name like that, that's the kind of mosh pit. That's the kind of mosh pit that takes up the entire floor.
Yeah. Something else that came from that award presentation was the first thing Kurt Cobain said when he got up to the podium was, "I want to thank our true fans."
Yeah.
Right.
So again, kind of dogging these new strap hanger fans that just came on for the singles and everything else.
And what I was saying before is like that performance they did, as well as like the acceptance, that kind of inspired me. I was playing, it was I want to say it was 1993, 1994 time frame. We were playing in a school talent show.
Mm-hmm.
And we decided we're gonna play some Nirvana tunes.
Mm-hmm.
And when they opened that performance, they started playing "Rape Me." He played like a couple bars of "Rape Me,"
and then he stopped.
and then started playing "Lithium." So, as a big fuck you to the fake fans, the posers, I was like, we're gonna get up there and I'm gonna start playing "Smells Like Teen Spirit" and then stop, and then I'm gonna play some shit they've never even heard before.
Yeah.
So like I got up there and I was like. Nope. And then we busted into, I want to say it was Even in His Youth, which was like a B-side off of some, I don't even remember which single it was, but 99.999% of the kids in that school had never fucking heard that song in their life.
Nice.
So I played that, and then we went from there into Territorial Pissings. So
yes.
I was like, fuck you. I'm not going to play anything that anything that you like.
Yeah.
We're going to play what we like.
Did you do the full vocals on Territorial Pistons?
Oh, yeah.
I love it.
We had our drummer Dale, like when in between songs, he got out from behind the drum set, got up to the mic, was like, "Come on, people now, smile on your brother, everybody get together." So it was great.
Nice. Oh, that's awesome. Good stuff. So we kind of already talked a lot about the MTV Unplugged. Again, I thought that was such a great show and a great album that they made out of that. And half of the songs, more than half of the songs, were again
Covers.
Yeah, they were covers, like the Meat Puppet songs and everything else, or they were songs from their first album. Not a lot of their singles. They didn't do "Smells Like Teen Spirit" in that show. They did, they did "Come As You Are." They did a couple other songs from Teen Spirit that people knew. Yeah, but for the most part, it was all like different new shit that the mainstream listeners didn't know. Yep. And it was fucking brilliant. Yes. That whole album.
All of my favorite Nirvana songs, the ones that I will go and listen to again, like I said earlier, was off of that album.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I remember like MTV like losing their shit over that. Like, what are you talking about? You want to do these songs? Like where's all the hits? Like they were like freaking out, like telling them like you can't play this set list. Like, and then they just stuck to their guns. I'm like, no, this is what we're gonna do.
And they killed it.
Yeah,
they absolutely killed it.
Yeah, and I'd be willing to bet that I'd love to look up the sales for that album to see how it did compared to.
It was like, it's tough for me because I love both bands, but like between Nirvana and Alice in Chains, two best unplugged albums ever.
Yeah, I forgot Alice in Chains did an
both
unplugged.
Fucking phenomenal. Performances. I
have the Mariah Carey unplugged
Alice
album.
In Chains, and it's funny because like the Nirvana one and the Alice in Chains ones was like one of the last like performances that they did together as a band before each of them died.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah, it's a shame, but I mean, I tell you what, you had mentioned earlier that he wasn't the most talented musician, but that again, you listen to this, and when you get into this unplugged environment, that talent really shines,
Mhm.
and it really comes out. And again, it's a shame a lot of the banter that he has with the audience isn't on the CD
Right.
if you just get the album, but it's there, and that interaction, it's so organic, and it's awesome, incredible, and it just shows the showmanship that he had and that they had as a band.
One of my favorite quotes off of that unplugged performance is when the Meat Puppets get up on stage with him, and they're like trying to find a guitar for the one dude, and he's like, what? Like, I thought we were a big rich rock band, like we can't afford another guitar or something. I was like, that's so fucking good. Like, that's so Kurt right there. Like, like basically just making fun of the fact that they're like, a big band.
Yeah. And so when it came to In Utero, I remember the singles that came off of that. I don't think I ever owned the album In Utero.
I don't know.
Do you have any memories of In Utero? I remember being fairly underwhelmed from what I heard. I mean, the big single was Heart Shaped Box.
Heart Shaped Box, yeah.
Weird fucking music video, by the way, if you've ever seen it.
So I mean, there wasn't a lot of like big hits off of that album. And honestly, like I said, it was Kurt's kind of intent to make it that way. Like, he wanted to drive away the poser fans in a way. And it worked, because you didn't see a whole lot of rotation on a lot of these songs, but like the true fans like myself loved it. Like, and even on the Unplugged album, like they did Dumb, which was off of In Utero. They did All Apologies, which was off of In Utero.
Right.
So I mean, there was a few on that album that had kind of mild success on the radio, but honestly, like, dude, I loved it. Like I said, right from the opening line of that, it was just, like I said, it was just a big fuck you to all the people that he didn't want to be fans in the first place.
Right. Which makes me think now I need to go back and re-listen to it, because it's been a long time. I didn't have time to listen to it, leading up to this episode.
And you call yourself a researcher? What the fuck, man?
I don't even want to hear this shit from you, motherfucker.
What are you talking about?
The guy that just shows up. All right, what are we doing this week?
Exactly.
5 minutes before we go live.
Right.
So,
I'm
guys?
I'm here to drink giant ice cubes.
Do you guys remember the Beavis and Butthead Experience?
Oh yeah.
The album that came out.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, the big single with it was the Cher "I Got You Babe" that she did with fucking Beavis and Butthead.
Mm-hmm.
But they released a whole album that was the Beavis and Butthead Experience.
Yeah, it was cool.
And of course, being a huge Beavis and Butthead fan at the time, I immediately bought it, like as soon as it came out.
Yeah.
I loved the Aerosmith song that was on that. Deuces Are Wild, I think is what it was called.
Yeah, it was cool.
But there was also a Nirvana song on there.
Yeah.
And keep in mind, this came out in 93, the end of 93. Kurt Cobain killed himself in the beginning of 94. The song that Nirvana released on the Beavis and Butthead Experience was called I Hate Myself and Want to Die.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, holy fuck. So we're all Air Force guys, right?
Yep.
We're military. Suicide awareness is a huge thing. We get that training damn near every year.
Yep.
And they talk about things like watching for signs. And there are particular things that they tell you to watch for. People either, mentioning suicidal thoughts, giving away all their stuff. We go through the training every year. We get it all the time. And you start to see patterns after the fact, unfortunately, when it comes to Kurt Cobain. But you see these patterns and you're like, fuck, we should have all seen this coming. The way he was having trouble reconciling with this newfound fame. And like we were talking about, the new fans, the fans that he didn't necessarily want, and the commercialism of the whole music business. I'm sure that was a big shock to his system, realizing just how corporate the whole fucking music industry was. And, releasing a song like this months before he kills himself.
And it's the first song on that Beavis and Butthead Experience, too.
Yeah.
And that song was actually recorded and was supposed to be on the In Utero album.
Oh, really?
Yeah. They recorded it at the same time, but I think Kurt was saying something along the lines there was already too many noise songs on the album, so that was the one that got cut.
Sure.
And then when this Beavis and Butthead thing came up, they're like, yeah, whatever, sure.
Yeah, throw it on there. Yeah.
And you talk about these precursors, right? It's unfortunate that it's easy to see these things after the fact. It's easy to put those pieces together after the fact, and you really have to be kind of tuned into what's going on with somebody to be able to identify that. And I think with celebrities like rock stars and movie actors and all these people, it's tough for us to imagine that their life could be so bad that they'd want to commit suicide, right? For us and what we deal with as normal people, right? As the normies, we can't imagine that like they have it all. Like they have money, they get to be on TV, they get to do what they love and perform and do all these things. Like how could this person be so tortured? But yet we see it time and time again. Like especially this kind of domino effect. Well, not necessarily time wise, but you had Kurt Cobain, Chris Cornell, Chester Bennington. Like you had these artists from these generation of bands that took their own lives, and the names of the songs and the things that they're talking about should be that indicator, like where this place is coming from. But then you have to have people in your life that are recognizing it, like us as fans. Even if you do recognize it, like
there's not much we can do.
It's so tough to interact unless you're like writing something to Eminem and he writes a song about it. But
yeah,
the reality is that for what we have to take from that, and Jason at Luna Girl's request, and it's brilliant. We have kind of scrolling on the bottom is a National Suicide Prevention Hotline, 1-800-273-TALK, 8255. Sometimes as an individual, when you're having these thoughts, or if you are somebody that's noticing like, this is kind of strange, making a phone call like that and saying, what can I do? What can I do to help this person? And really change what you think is going to happen. It's fucking hard, man. It is fucking hard. And unfortunately for us with the Air Force environment, it sort of becomes, we start getting scar tissue to what should be something that's easily the best training we get, being able to look at somebody else, veteran suicide is fucking huge, 22 a day.
Yeah.
Then we all have to deal with these, experiences and thoughts and everything else. And when you're sitting amongst like-minded people, those thoughts aren't as bad. Right. It doesn't present the same way as it does when you're sitting at home alone.
Yeah.
And you really, if you're, you see a loved one kind of growing a little bit more distant, maybe internalizing something a little bit more and not reacting to good things in the same way that they were. That's that small little thing. Like, hey, it's springtime. It's time to go outside. I'm like, I really don't feel like it. Yeah. Okay. Shit, if that happened with me, if I stopped fucking, hey, it's spring to go outside, big flag, because I'm solar powered. I need to fucking be out and get some sunlight.
Yeah.
And I've said it, I've been very vocal about it on the podcast. I go to therapy. I deal with mental health issues and have dealt with it throughout my life. And it's when we see something like this, and with Kurt Cobain, especially the timing of it, it's really hard to imagine that this person could have been that way. Then you look at it afterwards. Remember John Erickson?
Yeah.
When he took his own life. After the fact, it was like, holy fuck, it was right there in front of us on his Facebook posts, on certain things. And it's like, you kind of have to be not only aware of it, but also have the fucking stones to go and say something.
Yeah.
And if you don't know what to say, make a phone call to 1-800-273-TALK and ask them, hey, there's this person in my life. What do I say? What do I say to help them? What can I do?
Yeah.
And they'll give you those answers.
And sometimes it may just be something as simple as, hey, you okay?
Yeah.
Like what's going on?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Like, I mean, personally, there's been times in my life where I was there. I was in that dark place. And like you said, it was something as simple as somebody just, hey man, hey, what's going on? How you been?
Yeah.
And that's all it took to wake me up and like get me out of that funk. Because when you're by yourself in that, echo chamber, basically telling yourself, well, nobody cares. If I was gone tomorrow, well, who would it really matter to?
Right.
Yeah.
So when you get that person out of the blue, just random, hey man, what's going on? How you been? Sometimes that's enough
Yeah.
to just wake you up
Mm-hmm.
and say, holy shit, what the hell am I talking about?
Yeah, no, and I don't know. I feel like our generation too, the Generation X people, it's more prevalent for us. We don't have it as good as the previous generation, and it's
Well, let's face it. We come from a generation that was told. Our previous generation was told you don't tell people.
Yeah.
You don't tell people when you're sick. You
Yeah.
don't tell people when that's you. Everything stays within the family. Everything,
especially if you're a dude too. Like you don't
Yeah.
you don't talk about your feelings, your emotions.
that's
like,
weakness.
Yeah.
Like you're
Mhm.
demonstrating weakness, and you're a failure if
Yeah.
you show weakness.
And then you hold it in, and then
Yep.
it just boils
You
over.
internalize
and-
it, and then you have fucking ulcers, and you lose your hair. Well, you guys lose your hair.
Yeah.
I'm my receding hairline notwithstanding.
Yep. So yeah, I mean, it's kind of
Well,
a
if we're talking about the indicators, if you want to talk about the suicide note, I think now's the time.
okay. So yeah, I have it up. I grabbed the transcript from Kurt Cobain's suicide letter because it was pretty profound, and I wanted to read it live here on the.
Would you
On
believe
the
this is
show.
the first time I'm ever going to hear it?
Really?
Yeah.
So a little background to this, obviously. So here's something funny. I'm sure you've heard this story. The fucking electrician who found Kurt Cobain's body on the 8th, again, 3 days after he had killed himself, fucking called the local radio station first before he even called police. Like, what a douchebag. The guy fucking calls the radio station to break the news. But I digress. He also saw the suicide note that was there. So I think this was like a day or two afterwards. They were having a vigil for him somewhere outside of one of his homes in Seattle. And Courtney Love actually had a pre-recorded thing that she did. And she read a good portion of the suicide note to the crowd that was there in attendance. People are crying and everything else. And so a good portion of this was already public. And then I think it was years later, they posted the entire visual of the note. Terrible handwriting, by the way. Sorry, Kurt, but it's true.
Don't fuck on lefties, man. What the hell?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. He's one of those fucking devil lefties, so you can't really blame him for that. But anyway, I was just going to read the whole suicide note here, and if we have any more comments on it, we can talk about it after the fact. Speaking from the tongue of an experienced simpleton who obviously would rather be as an emasculated infantile complainee, this note should be pretty easy to understand. All the warnings from the Punk Rock 101 courses over the years, since my first introduction to the, shall we say, ethics involved in the independence and embracement of your community has proven to be true. I haven't felt the excitement of listening to as well as creating music along with reading and writing for too many years now. I feel guilty beyond words about these things. For example, when we're backstage and the lights go out and the manic roar of the crowd begins, it doesn't affect me the way it in which it did for Freddie Mercury, who seemed to relish in the love and adoration from the crowd, which is something I totally admire and envy. The fact is, I can't fool you. Any of you. It simply isn't fair to me or you. The worst crime I can think would be to rip people off by faking it and pretending as if I'm having 100% fun. Sometimes I feel as if I should have a punch-in time clock before I walk out on stage. I've tried everything within my power to appreciate it, and I do, God believe me, I do, but it's not enough. I appreciate the fact that I and we have affected and entertained a lot of people. It must be one of those narcissists who only appreciate things when they're gone. I'm too sensitive. I need to be slightly numb in order to regain the enthusiasm I once had as a child. On our last 3 tours, I've had a much better appreciation for all the people I've known personally and the fans of our music, but I still can't get over the frustration, the guilt and empathy I have for everyone. There's good in all of us, and I think I simply love people too much. So much that it makes me feel too fucking sad. The sad little, sensitive, unappreciative Pisces Jesus man. Why don't you just enjoy it? ? I don't know. I have a goddess of a wife who sweats ambition and empathy, and a daughter who reminds me too much of what I used to be, full of love and joy, kissing every person she meets because everyone is good and will do no harm to her. And that terrifies me to the point where I can barely function. I can't stand the thought of Frances becoming the miserable, self-destructive death rocker that I've become. I have it good, very good, and I'm grateful. But since the age of 7, I've become hateful towards all humans in general. Only because it seems so easy for people to get along that have empathy. Only because I love and feel sorry for people too much, I guess. Thank you all from the pit of my burning, nauseous stomach for your letters and concern during these past years. I'm too much of an erratic, moody baby. I don't have the passion anymore. And so remember, it's better to burn out than to fade away. Peace, love, empathy. Kurt Cobain. Frances and Courtney, I'll be at your altar. Please keep going, Courtney, for Frances. For her life, which will be so much happier without me. I love you. I love you. Ooh. That's...
Songwriter.
Yeah.
Songwriter spilling it.
Yeah. And again, I think so much of this boils down to that lack of passion for music, because really that's what it was all about, right? It was about the music. You know, probably in the early days, he loved it. He loved writing music. He loved listening to music. He loved performing in front of those small crowds of people that were there for them. But when it became this mainstream corporatized thing, he quickly lost that passion. And you know, it sucks when that's what your whole life kind of revolves around and you lose that. And again, you feel like you're punching a clock, like he says. It's got to suck.
And you got to imagine, too, that if you sit there and you're an artist and you think about, what if I just stopped? You know, I've got all the money I need. What if I just stopped? What would people say? You know, what would people say if Kurt Cobain at some point just says like, yeah, you know what? I'm done. I'm done making music.
Yeah.
They'd trash him. They trash him. You know, like, oh, you know, look at you. You're too big. You know, you're walking away, you know, from it, blah, 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 blah. Then nobody has anything good to say. And the irony of him having such empathy for people fucking suck.
Yeah,
they really do. And if that's a Gen X thing, then so be it. But that empathy that he has for people, I don't share. I just don't. You know, if you're out there and you're listening to this right now and you enjoy the sound of our voices, that's awesome. I'm glad to provide you some level of entertainment. But the reality is that people in general fucking suck.
Yeah.
Don't be the one that sucks. Don't be that fucking person that sucks, and be the person that's deserving of your empathy. That's what I can't, you know. I hope Kathy's not listening. She probably is, but you know, my wife is one of those people that has a lot of empathy for people, and I'm just like, I thank God for people like you, because that's how homeless people get fucking fed and shit. Like but I don't know. I've seen too much of the fucking world and have sacrificed so much that I just don't. Can't do it. So I can imagine. Every bit of this. I can put myself in that.
Yeah.
You know, obviously not as a fucking rock star or anything else, but like there's quite a few of us that are listening to this right now in our generation that could sit on the other side of this wall and be like, yeah, I 100% understand. Totally understand.
Yeah, especially when, again, losing the passion for that thing that you loved. You know, God, that's,
dude, one of the biggest things, and I'm saying I'm going to put this out there as something that's you know a little bit more personal, but if you come across something that's like this, I should be like, this is so fucking amazing, I should be so happy, and you can't.
I've had that exact discussion before.
You can't be fucking happy. Like, you can't appreciate something so fucking good. And you have this situation like, what the fuck is wrong with me? What is wrong with me that I can't appreciate this amazingness that is happening? And for a split second, and here's the worst part, right? And I say this so that you recognize it in yourself, and maybe it triggers something to like, you know what, maybe I do need to go talk to somebody, because you probably do. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Like, going and talking to somebody is going to help you. Trust me. But when you're at that point where you're like, when you recognize, man, I had a moment, this moment of like, wow, that was really fucking great. Like, I'm so happy. And followed immediately by this meteoric crash of fucking hate, like self-hate and guilt and everything else. Like, you have a problem. You need to talk to somebody about it, because that's the type of hole that when you start digging it on your own, like you can't get out of it very easy. You need strong people around you. You need people that can recognize this stuff, and sometimes those people don't know that this is going on about you. Look at Robin Williams. Classic example of a dude that, like, look at that guy, how fucking happy he is making other people so fucking happy, and for him to be tortured in the same way. So yeah, you have to, you recognize these things, and when you feel these things, then it's time to reach out.
And it's like you said before, it's about breaking that stigma of, we're guys and we're from a certain generation that you're supposed to just keep that shit inside and just fucking and just deal with it, suck it up, right?
Yeah,
and
suck it up, Buttercup.
And
like, what's one more concussion? Yeah. Like, I can't see. Oh yeah, get out there, fucking rub some dirt on it, and fucking go back out there.
Yeah,
we live in a world right now that is, especially coming out of the other side of a fucking pandemic, right? Where there's a lot of us Gen Xers that maybe didn't fare so well, with their employment and everything else, and they're struggling. So all those people, will come out to the other side of this, and it'll be better. This goes in cycles. Like what they were talking about in 1992 at the VMAs with the propaganda and everything else. Obviously, this shit was going on fucking 30 years ago, and it's gonna cycle itself through, and you just have to be smart enough to fucking ride it out.
Christ, that was almost 30 years ago, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Holy shit, man.
The moral of all this story, and it sucks to go down this road, but this is the tragedy of what a musician of a band that is, even for me that wasn't super into their music, you have to recognize when this happened, when Nirvana happened to our generation, it changed everything. It changed the music you listen to. Even if you didn't listen to Nirvana, now you're listening to bands like Alice in Chains and Soundgarden.
Right.
You're listening to all these other bands.
And the fact that it resonated with so many of us too was very telling of our generation and the shit we were going through at the time. And I think especially for me and Nick, who were, again, 15, 16 years old, sophomores in high school, like this immediately like triggered something in our brains. It's like, yes, I completely see exactly where they're coming from. So yeah. Nick, anything else on the
No.
Yeah, it's I know a somber way to end the show, but yeah, it's one of those things, man. They had such a big impact, and to think about it, like, again, almost 30 years later, 27 years later, we're still talking about him.
Yeah.
And if you look at the news today and everything else, they're still all talking about him. So they had an impact, a long lasting impact, more than anybody else. Of that time
something
frame
we haven't mentioned yet, like without Nirvana, one of the next biggest bands of our lifetime, Foo Fighters.
That's right. Yeah, Dave Grohl.
Does that exist?
No,
without Nirvana.
Because I don't think as talented as Dave Grohl is, and he is one of the most talented musicians of our lifetime, right? And the show, the song, yeah. We'll get there. But yeah, Dave Grohl, the showmanship and understanding of this is what, if you're going to be a big time musician, this is what it's going to entail. So he had to live that. Almost through the eyes of a band member, or as a band member of one of the biggest bands ever. Now all of a sudden it all stops.
Well, and he's even said that, like, he learned so much about songwriting and arrangement from Kurt.
Yeah.
Like, so yeah, okay, he's a drummer. He knows a little bit of guitar, but without going through that experience, does he get to the point where he's like, I'm gonna start my own band.
Yeah.
I don't know.
He came up in that system, right?
Yeah.
The Kurt Cobain system.
Yeah.
You know, you think about it in reference to like football coaches, right? He was one of the Andy Reid
Yeah. I mean,
people.
There's a lot of people in that coaching tree.
Well, yeah, but you know, you don't get that much or that deep of a tree in music, but you know, he came off of that Kurt Cobain tree.
Yep.
So, yeah, and I loved talking about Dave Grohl himself. You know how he was a big drummer. They always compared him to fucking Animal from the Muppets. And then, did you guys see the Muppet movie with fucking what's his name, Jason Spiegel or whatever the fuck his name was? That Muppet movie they did a few years ago with him and Amy Adams, where they had a fake band called the Muppets. They were like a parody of the Muppets, and the drummer was actually Dave Grohl playing Animal, which I thought was
That's
fucking hilarious.
great.
So
that is great.
Yeah. Any last words on Nirvana before we close this out?
Well, we obviously have to close out with a song.
Well, yes, but before we do that, we actually have to talk about next week.
We do.
So, do you want me to say it?
Yeah.
All right. So, next week, we've been kind of hinting at this for a while, but you know, Dave and I started by doing All Things Star Wars, the Star Wars podcast, and we've gone back to it every once in a while, especially when the last season of Mandalorian came out. But
right.
We've decided to officially close the book on All Things Star Wars. So next week is the final episode of All Things Star Wars.
Right.
With a twist.
Yes.
So fear not.
Right,
listeners.
I know Bronco Fett's furiously typing as we speak.
Yes.
Save HDSW.
But don't worry, this isn't the end. It's just smell you later, we'll say. But no, more details next week, but it will be the final All Things Star Wars. We're going to address a lot of things that have been happening lately in the Star Wars universe. We'll just leave it at that. And then we have some announcements during that show.
We do. And again, fear not.
Yeah.
And also, we're here to say it's not going to be the last time we talk about Star Wars.
Correct.
But we'll put it to you that way.
Yeah.
So yeah, look, there's Bronco Fett.
Yeah. As we expected him to say.
Yes.
So
on cue.
All right, Nick, Big Swede, Tactical Swede, Big Dick Nick. Anything else you want to pimp before we sign off?
No, apparently, according to everyone else, I've hit now 100 subscribers on the Swede Studios channel.
Yes,
that's very good.
You can get my custom URL.
Nice.
So awesome. Stay tuned. As I said, we got a lot of stuff in the hopper that's hopefully going to finish up here soon, and a lot of other stuff that's kind of still in the idea phase, but moving along. So
nice.
Should have some good tunes coming out of Swede Studio soon.
All right. Man. So check him out. Check out all of his YouTube channels. I'm sure there's links to all of his other channels within Swede Studios.
We should link that stuff in the show description.
I will do my best to remember that. So in the meantime, this is the end for us. Thank you everybody for watching on the YouTube. Thank you everybody for listening to the audio. Follow at GenXPOV on Instagram. That's where we do most of our social media posting, and the private Facebook group, the Sidebar Cantina, on Facebook.
Can we? I mean, you may want to follow at Sidebar Cantina
on Instagram.
On Instagram,
all right. At Sidebar Cantina, also.
Yep.
Some things might be happening.
Yeah,
soon. Tune in next week to find out what those things might be.
Just saying. If you stuck around this long, just saying.
Yep. So, all right. Thanks again, everybody. And remember, everything we told you today was true from a Gen X point of view.
Put me on the spot.
I mean, you should have seen this coming.
I'm going to preface this by saying that I have not played and sung this song through its entirety for probably several years. And I will apologize in advance if I cannot sing it anymore. But we'll give it a go. And we'll see how it goes. As we talked about off of the amazing Nirvana Unplugged album. the hole. Where will you go? I'm going where the cold wind blows. Pines where the sun shines. I'll shiver the whole night through. Was a hard working man, just about a mile from here. This boy is found in a dry mill, but his body never was found. My girl, don't lie to me. Say, where did you sleep last night? In pines where the sun will shine. I'll shiver the whole night my girl, where will you go? I'm going where the cold wind blows. In the pines where the sun will shine. I'll shiver the whole night through. My girl, don't lie to me. Tell me, where did you sleep last night? Well, in the pines where the sun will shine. I would shiver the whole night through. Girl, where will you go? I'm going where the cold wind blows. In the pines, the sun shine. I'll shiver the whole night through.
Woo! Nice. Fucking killed it. Thanks, everybody. Props to Big Nick. That was fucking awesome. Well done, sir.
Thanks, everybody.
All right. Audio's going off now. We're still live.
Oh,
You got there though.
a little bit rough.
No, man, that was awesome. Fucking yeah, that was good.
Yeah, it was good. It's nothing like sitting right next to it too. It's
I
like,
know, right?
oh, it's like,
I was like, I just gotta belt this shit
Yep.
out, come hell or high water.
dude, believe it or not, this room is actually fairly well like sound insulated. Because I know when I'm standing out there peeing, like you would think you'd hear everything that's going on in here. You don't. I'm sure somebody probably heard you screaming.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably. I mean, that was gonna be tough. It was fucking awesome though.
I'm not gonna eat that pizza, so when you fucking
Dave.
God damn it! What do you mean you're not gonna eat that pizza?
You're getting lots of props in the chat, so
I appreciate you.
good stuff, man.
Oh,
That's awesome.
man. Whew.
You all right?
I seriously have not done that to that. Like, I we played that song. So I usually do this like little birthday bash once a year. Like this last year we had the whole COVID incident on my birthday.
Well,
And then we had the crazy cycle chick ruin the rest of it. But what we used to do in the past is, and actually I haven't brought it up to you guys, but like we want to bring you guys out there. I possibly would like to do it this year. Back where I grew up in Northeast PA, we got this little lake house, and normally that's where I do my little birthday bashes. So we'll get everybody together, and like there's always acoustic guitars, and we jam out and do some shit.
Nice.
And
I'm in.
I want to say it was 2 years ago. I had one up there, and we sang that song, but I didn't like belt it out like that. Like I kind of like falsettoed the high parts.
Mm-hmm.
So like this is the first time I've really belted that shit out in years.
It sounded great.
Years.
Yeah.
But yeah, we want to get you guys out there because it's not quite like dark sky territory, but it's pretty fucking dark up there. You're out in the middle of nowhere. It's like right on the lake. Fucking, we always have a good time. We grill out and fucking drink beers and.
Oh, real quick. Apparently we have some leftover. Hold on. What is it? Leftover tuxedo mousse cake in the house from Costco.
The fuck is that? It sounds delicious.
Do you want a piece?
Apparently, it's not the chocolate peanut butter goodness that I was.
No. In fact, I mentioned to her today. I said this morning, I'm like, you still owe Nick peanut butter squares.
I was gonna say something when she was in here.
Yeah. Well,
I didn't want to get yelled at.
I'm good. I'm having pizza for dessert. Pizza.
Pizza in the morning, pizza in the evening.
Oh my god, I
pizza
could eat
at
pizza
supper time.
all the time.
When it's pizza on a bagel. Dave could eat pizza anytime.
But yeah, appreciate you guys for fluffing my ego.
Yeah, no, man, that was awesome. Fucking, you can come back and do that anytime you want. But again, anybody who's still out there, subscribe to Sweet Studios and give him props.
I bet you everybody that's in there right now is actually subscribed to Sweet Studios.
They fucking better have.
Yeah,
if they haven't, then they got an ass kicking coming to them.
I try not to sing as much as possible because I'm not a great singer. I mean, I do my best, but
You're far better than anything I could do, for sure. So I've never heard Dave sing. Well, I've heard him sing in voices.
That's what I do. I sing in voices.
Yeah. But
I'm like most of my upcoming stuff I'm not singing on because I'm not James Hetfield, and honestly, like the dude that I got to sing, he's not trying to be James Hetfield, which was great, which is why I was like, hey man, I want you to sing on this.
Yeah.
Because he did a cover of Creeping Death, and I was just looking, Creeping Death vocal covers.
Yeah.
And this dude popped up, and I was like, I like that he's not trying to sound like James Hetfield. He's just singing it himself. And
Yeah.
he's doing great. So I was like, hey man, you want to sing on this cover? I'm doing it. And he was like, yeah, man.
Oh, speaking of which, I still owe you our Die track.
You guys got to do video for that as well.
Okay.
I told Dave last time, but I was like, yeah, I got to get honestly, if you want to record like your setup here for the pod and just have both you guys doing like die that, because the idea is for you guys to be able to like, pimp your own thing, and I'll put links in the description on who all, contributed.
All right.
So you can have your,
and
POV,
I'm pretty sure I recommended that we do it while we were live, so we would have that video. But Dave's like, no, fuck that. That's a stupid idea.
Yeah.
Why would anybody want to do that? You're
Right.
a fucking moron. We're not doing that.
Every time.
Yeah. I'm gonna get, like I said, I'll get you guys. I'm gonna get Don Brady to do it.
Nice.
My tattoo guy Brett, I'm gonna have him do it. May even get like the whole tattoo shop to do it. Like, that would be
Sweet.
cool if everybody wants to do it.
Hell yeah.
Somebody in the chair.
I know. Luna Girl said her and Dragon Buddy are gonna do it. I'll throw it out there in the cantina for anybody else that wants to do it. So
Sweet. Yeah.
Chaka the Monkey Boy subscribed twice.
Die.
What? Oh, do we know who that is?
Chaka the Monkey Boy? I have no idea.
I love it.
But thank you,
Wow.
Chaka, for joining us.
Much appreciated.
Oh, what do we got here? Uh-oh.
Hello there.
Oh,
Hello there.
Oh my god.
Yes.
Holy-
No.
Oh my
holy
god.
hell!
Oh, Jesus.
This is not going to fit into my diet very well, but
Oh, fit in your mouth very well.
it will.
That's what you said.
Thank you.
Welcome. Is the pizza good?
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
That's seriously like our favorite pizza, but Ben hates it, so we never get it. But
I did say it's not peanut butter squares, but
that's true. You miss those.
just saying.
It's not. It's not. Yeah.
Although I do mostly blame him.
Oh yeah.
Oh, you
Me?
100% blame him.
What did I do?
It's your fault.
I don't see how.
We know.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
This is eating dessert with Jason, Dave, and Nick.
Mhm. So this is from Costco. Kristen works at Costco. She works in the bakery now.
Mm.
So we get all kinds of goodies like this.
Mm. We sound like cows eating in front of the microphone.
Probably.
No.
This is the after show. You never know what you're going to get in the after show.
That's true.
So some days it's just us chowing down on cake.
This should be us more often, to be honest. This should be a whole nother separate stream. No talking, just sitting there eating cake. I'm making noises.
You know what? It's funny. I don't know that I want to rewatch that and listen to myself.
Dude, no, like for real, it sounded great. Like I was, because I know you were hesitant to go into it, so I'm listening for anything that would be that you wouldn't want to hear. But I'm like, no, man, that was fucking awesome from start to finish.
There's a couple sketchy parts, but
Well, at the end of the day, we're our own biggest critics. So
Yeah. For sure. That's why I can't listen to myself.
do I even want to know what a cake mukbang is?
What?
Stonebleeds in the chat mentioned it.
I see that, but what?
Yeah, I have no idea.
I want to listen back to it just to hear how the mic picked up the audio
yeah,
and
it's
everything
like
else.
I pushed the mic back a little bit because I was like, I know when I start belting it out, I'm gonna be like right here, and it's gonna start clipping. So I pushed it back.
I'll know when I go back to edit the audio and to post it. But yeah, I think I'm going to leave that part as raw and not do any filtering or noise cancellation or anything for that section. So, but
I am not Googling mukbang.
yeah,
No fucking way.
It's a trap.
Fool me once.
It's like Google Blue. What was it? Blue waffle?
Oh yeah.
Nope. Not gonna do it.
So sorry, Jason. Earlier in the group text for getting ready for the show, Jason asked about alcohol. I was like, oh, I think I have a couple of nips left in the studio.
Nips.
And Jason's like, nips. So I Googled nip.
I'm like, nipple? What?
I Googled nip like drink specifically because I know if I just put nips into a Google search, I would have never gotten to the definition of what a nip would be in drink.
But you probably would have been pretty happy trying to get there.
Well, I mean, I might not have been here. I might have,
Oh my God.
I might have needed a nap.
I think I need a nap now. I got to piss. I'll be right back.
Oh man.
I'm either going to have an amazing sugar high or I'm just going to crash. Or both. Warm in here, isn't it?
Yeah, a little bit. I don't know if I can finish that off or not. Whew. Gotta let my food settle a little bit, like the potato chip bag. Like
Let some hair get in there. I remember doing the second piece of pizza. Like Bronco Fett randomly. Republic Commando. Yes, that is a thing that exists. Not necessarily a thing that exists in podcast form from Dave and Jason.
Make Kelly happy.
Oh boy.
I'm so happy because today I found my friends in my head. I'm so happy, that's okay, 'cause so are you. Your comments, I'm so sorry. Anyway, that you right. I don't care. I'm not candles in our days, 'cause I found God. Yeah.
We didn't talk about during the VMA performance where he changed some of the lyrics. He had the "I'm so retarded."
Oh, I put your without the. That's all.
Come on, Dave. Really?
I know. I'm the worst.
Metallica Unplugged.
Nice.
That'd be a good show. I pay to hear that.
Hell yeah.
Especially like one.
I don't know. It depends on, because last year, like quarantine shit, they released an unplugged version of Blackened. No.
Really?
No.
Not good, huh?
Metallica, just stop what you're doing.
Well, they're self-publishing everything now,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, they have their own record label, Blackened Records or whatever it's
They got
called.
blackened everything right now.
Yeah, Blackened, what is it? Whiskey?
Whiskey,
Yeah.
bourbon.
Or, yeah. Some kind of alcohol.
It's good stuff.
Jason's like, make my guitar make that noise.
Yeah, I know, right? I'm still trying to get it to stop so let's just say, I don't know.
There's babies in his guitar, by the way.
You hear the weird vibrations that I get, you hear that the kind of weird rattling, vibration-y type thing. Well, it didn't do it just there.
String buzz.
Yeah, the buzz. How do you minimize that?
So if you're getting buzz, it could be a couple different things. It could be your truss rod, which I'm assuming it has a truss rod.
I have no idea.
So
I don't know what that is.
Yeah, so if you look inside your sound hole there at your neck, there's an Allen screw in there.
Mm-hmm.
You can adjust that, and basically what that does is it torques your neck. Either it'll bow it that way or this way.
Uh-huh.
So what can happen is if your neck is kind of bowing back, you'll get string buzz in the middle here, because as this goes back, your string is making a straight line back to the bridge. So at some point on the neck, it'll start hitting the fret somewhere down in here.
Yeah.
And they'll cause that buzz.
Oh,
Or what it
okay.
can be, in what I'm running into with this sometimes, is this bridge piece is getting a little old and it's getting worn down where the strings are, so that causes the strings to sit a little bit lower.
Which, I mean this thing is still brand new.
Yours is brand new, so more than likely it's just the truss rod needs a little tweak.
Huh. Okay. I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yep.
So
Because there's certain spots in the neck where I'll get a little bit of buzz.
Okay, so yeah, you're hearing it too.
But yeah, mine's because you can even see like there's like if I take the strings off, it's like
Yeah. Huh. Okay.
Supergirl says you have to take the naked baby out of your guitar.
Well, that is in there, and I can't get the fucking thing out. So thank you for that. Yeah. No, there's a fucking baby in here.
oh, I was just gonna ask you if you've because every guitar player in existence has had that experience where you drive your pick inside of there and then you do this shit for 20 minutes.
Yeah. No, it's not a pick. It's one of these fucking things. Yeah. One of these little fuckers.
Oh.
She put them all over the studio.
Yeah. Well, they were. Did you see the ice episode with the naked babies in the ice?
No.
Oh my god, dude.
Yeah, she froze a ton of those babies, like probably 20 of them, into blocks of ice.
Right. So then we're drinking whiskey with naked babies, and while it was melting, like the little naked baby asses and arms were starting to like kind of poke out. So you'd be taking a drink, and the little naked baby arm would like touching your face. That's why there's one of these babies is up here.
Yep. Yeah, you can see it on the video. So this week I actually looked up the tabs for the opening riff of Smells Like Teen Spirit, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not ready for that.
Power chords.
I'm still struggling to go from C
And
to
it's-
E
and it's
minor,
just-
so yeah.
So, like,
I love the face you made, by the way.
Yeah,
That was
that's
the
right.
best.
Perfect.
it's
How much you love it.
I hate that fucking song. And then like what's funny is like Raid Me is almost the same. It's the same exact chord progression. It's just he
Yeah.
changed it up a little bit.
Huh.
I think it was like wait, where did he start on that one? Yeah, look it up. But it's the same 4 chords, you just changed it up a little bit.
I'm still trying to like train my fingers to be able to like hit all the different chords. It's so like fucking unnatural the way some of them are, the finger positions. It's
Yeah. Honestly, like is it like what I started out with coming off of like Kurt Cobain was just basic power chords, you know, just moving that up and down the neck. You could play anything with just basic power chords.
yeah.
It's just, you know, like you made like you got like E minor,
I know that one.
just a regular E power chord, you know.
Yeah.
And then like an A, but then you got an A minor. So like your A, you can either play it here or you can play it here as a power chord.
Right.
So like any song out there, you can play with power chords.
I'm still learning.
You can't do this with the Lego hands.
I would imagine not. Yeah. All right, we about ready to kill this this live stream. I know we've still got a lot of people in here watching.
Luna Girl said, "Do the
Do Beavis and Butthead intro.
Butthead intro."
Can you do that?
I don't know. I mean, I posted it on Instagram, but I don't remember what it was now.
Hold on.
Hey, pull it up on my Instagram. It's there.
Do you want me to just pull up like the guitar tab somewhere on a website?
You're gonna have the new guitar as your home screen here in a second.
Oh, it'll be on Instagram.
Excuse me.
No, I don't want to continue in the fucking app. Just open the goddamn website.
I know that song. Yeah, it's cool.
It's the beginning.
We're coming on a commercial right now. Yeah, come on, butthead, come on. Come on, it's
I don't remember.
time for us to talk. Yeah. What the fuck was that?
Don't even fucking know.
I got to work on my Spotsworth because there's like that core voice is there. It's like 3 different things that I need to work on. Now suck my cock.
I gotta watch that movie.
That was bad intelligence.
All right, I think this is about time.
Yeah.
Close it up.
Yeah.
You only get so much free Nick.
This is true.
You gotta
go subscribe to his YouTube channel.
Gotta go to Sweet Studios
to
get the full effect.
Yep. So. Ooh. All right, hold on. Just another minute.
That's got to be. That's. Dun, dun, dun.
Boom.
All right, people. What's with all the typing?
Looking at somebody.
Enhance.
Would you like to know more?
All right.
Yeah.
All right, we're out of here this
I'm
time.
doing my part.
Thanks everybody for sticking around. You guys are the best. Thanks, Nick, for coming on. You're awesome.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
We're out of here.
Bye-bye now.
Peace, bitches.
Bye-bye.
All things Star Wars final episode next week. And we're out.
See ya.